Chapter 1174. The cups on the table were filled with water, and the thermos was empty. Yang Yunting saw that no one wanted to drink, so he didn't force them. He stood beside the table and continued, Gong Shuhe, this person, wait a minute, who is your junior? Xiao Hai asked. Let's talk about your junior first. He's too outrageous. He dared to leak the country's military secrets. Let's capture him first. Xiao Bei reacted. Yang Yunting was stunned and quickly explained, my junior didn't say the exact steps. He only said that the oil used by the tractors in the capital was evaporated from oil. There are different kinds of oil, and they were taken according to the temperature of the evaporation. After I found out, I figured everything out myself. How could my junior be considered a leak? Nonsense. He didn't tell you what the oil was evaporated from. How can you make gasoline just by looking at the oil? Someone, go and tell my brother and sister. When my brother and sister come, I'll tell you about the leak. Let's talk about another thing. When I first heard people talk about you, I thought you were a good person. Xiao Bei didn't want to agree with Yang Yunting. In the room, Yang Danzi was the most nervous. Everyone was fine before. How did the target become his father? Yang Yunting smiled and glanced at the table. Drink water, drink water. After everyone ignored him, he continued to stand there. Everyone else was standing there. He rubbed his hands together and said awkwardly, what my junior said is very important, but I can guarantee that I didn't tell anyone. I did the experiment under the guise of distilling wine. Wait until my brother and sister come. Xiao Bei continued to ignore him. Okay, let's talk about Gong Shuhe. When I became a high scholar, I wanted to continue taking the exam. I failed twice, so I went to Hunan province to become a village official. The taste of yellow wine in the village was very strong. Every time an official heard about it, he would send someone to ask for it. 6 years ago, the county official's brother got married and ordered the village to buy wine. Because there wasn't enough, my position as a village official was removed. Yang Yunting said and drank a cup of water. This time, Xiao Bei did not rush him. Instead, he said, tell me the county where the registrar is located. Yang Yunting's eyes revealed a trace of excitement as he continued, yes, I couldn't become the village chief, so I came out with him and his mother. I didn't dare to stay around. Even if I wasn't targeted by the registrar, I still felt embarrassed. Together with the parents and siblings on both sides, the whole family got on the boat. I heard that the more north you go, the more money you will get to teach in school. I am also a Juren, so I should get more money. Going north, far from Hunan province, we followed the boat all the way to Feng'an. Now Yang Danner's grandfather and grandfather are also in Feng'an, so our family came to Jiuyuan County. 4 years ago, my younger brother, as a technician, tested the power of the third-generation steam engine ship against the current. As a result, when we arrived at Feng'an, the ship broke down. To be precise, the power room of the ship broke down. We had to let the tracker drag the ship to the dock for maintenance. Then, you coincidentally saw your junior brother and came into contact with him. You found out more about him and couldn't help but come up with some wicked ideas. Using the excuse of serving the army, you lowered your status and ran into the army's logistics department to do some dirty things, right? Xiao Bei helped to explain. My father didn't do bad things. Yang Danner retorted with a stiff neck. Xiao Yuan touched Xiao Bei's arm, and Xiao Bei smiled embarrassedly. I used to tell stories to Panner and others. When she smiled, the atmosphere in the room was much better, and the nervous children breathed a sigh of relief. Yang Yunting rubbed his son's head and said, it wasn't a coincidence. My younger brother knew that I was in Feng'an, so after he stopped the ship, he deliberately came to find me. At that time, I was installing a hydroelectric generator on the Zhuangzi of a rich family that had just moved in. I wanted to make Zhuangzi's night as bright as day. It was only later that I found out that he wasn't a rich person, but rather someone sent by the imperial court to examine the operation of various things under different climates. At the same time, he was to discover the local craftsmen. When my younger brother came, he got in touch with that rich person and then taught me the blueprints of the steam engine. I studied it for 3 days and found the problem. I also fixed the ship's power source. After that, my younger brother advised me to enter the Ministry of Works, saying that there was a place in the Ministry of Works that was full of skilled people. The salary was also high, to the point that I was scared after hearing it. But I thought that if I followed him, I would have to learn a lot of skills from scratch. Others would look down on me and think that I was riding on my younger brother's coattails. I was a Jurin, and my relatives on both sides followed me. I couldn't take them there to be laughed at. At that time, I thought in my heart that if I didn't get something out of hand, I would never enter the Ministry of Works. My younger brother also supported me. He said that I used to be the most capable and smart, so he sent me learning materials. I studied for a year. I found that I didn't have anything on hand, and it was too expensive to buy. What should I do? Go to the logistics department of the army. There are a lot of things there, but the money is a little less. Xiaobei followed the words. Yang Yunting clapped his hands as if he had met a confidant. Yes, I thought about it for 2 days before I thought of it. You are still the best. It's just so. Xiaobei said shyly. I thought about it for 2 days. I handed in my household registration and told my identity. I entered the army of Jiuyuan County and became a logistics craftsman. I found 2 things. There were things, but I couldn't use them casually. The second was Gong Shuhe, who was clearly a villain. I began to think about him again. After half a month, I finally figured it out. A villain is good. A villain pursues profit. If he wants 1 point, I will give him 2 points, as long as I have enough materials to use. I had an idea. I didn't have money, so I couldn't give it to him. But he was also an official. An official needs political achievements. I began to design ideas for the places he was in charge of to get political achievements. I think you have seen it all the way. I didn't tell him directly. I said that a villain like him would not only not be grateful to me, but would also retaliate against me, thinking that he was not as good as me. I can make wine. It's cold in the north. I proposed to use barley to make wine to keep everyone warm when it's cold. Gong Shuhe liked to look for me. He asked me to make good wine for him. I drank with him. After drinking for a while, I got drunk. I kept talking about all kinds of ways to build the camp. He even said that if I showed the methods to the higher-ranking officials, I would be rewarded and put in an important position by the court. He also said that even if I was afraid of being targeted by the imperial court, I could still sell it to the officers of the other military camps. If I could get a sum of money, it would be a sum of money. Plus, with the logistics and trading with the commoners, it would be another sum of money. Speaking of this, Yang Yunting stopped and looked at Xiaobei and others without saying anything. The 9 children nodded almost at the same time. Dad, when can we go to the capital? Didn't you say that we can go to the Ministry of Works? Yang Danzi's IQ was obviously not as good as Xiaobei's, and he asked expectantly. Soon. Yang Yunting repeated and sighed again. If that's the case, your stepping stone is the lathe map. You, who are always bullied in the eyes of others, are actually plotting against Gong Shuhe. When he thinks that he's getting benefits and earning money, you can act according to your thoughts without worry, and he's covering for you. In fact, I feel that you can be an official now. If you meet a registrar who wants wine, you can definitely scheme against him to death. Many times, you don't need to use a knife to kill people. After Xiaobei finished speaking, he suddenly felt that this matter was not fun at all. One was a soldier who was being schemed against, while the other was a high school graduate who wanted to break through the shackles of his craftsmanship and improve it. The teacher, who had a strong learning ability, designed one plan after another that had a huge positive effect on military logistics on the road to higher levels of industrial technology. This kind of thinking, which many higher-ranked officers yearned for but could not reach, was actually a disguise thrown out by him in the process of protecting his research. How could the logistics officers who were thinking of the barracks endure this? Geniuses are all crazy. Should I thank Gong Shuhe for giving Yang Yunting time to research technology, or should I blame Gong Shuhe for bullying his subordinates? Should I praise Yang Yunting's spirit of research over the years, or should I punish him for framing others? Xiaobei lowered his head and muttered. Yang Yunting stood there and did not make a sound. He waited for the group of children in front of him to judge him. Chapter 1175. For a moment, other than the sound of panting, there was no other sound in the room. Yang Yunting's eyelids kept blinking. Even if his body did not show any signs of trembling, it could not hide his panic. Life and death, honor and disgrace were all in the hands of the 9 children. The local children were frightened. They kept looking at Xiao Bei and the others. Yang Danzi came to his father's side. He grabbed the corner of his father's clothes with both hands and pursed his lips. Xiao Bei's face was so worried that it looked like a flower. The other 8 people also had different expressions. Some were looking at the roof, some were looking at the ground, and some were looking around. Zhang Hu and the other guards who followed in were expressionless and motionless. It seemed that other people's matters had nothing to do with them. "Let's have a short meeting," Xiao Hai said at the crucial moment. The other children nodded. "Wait, we'll go out and discuss. We'll be back in a while." Before they went out, Xiao Bei said something to Yang Yunting that seemed to be reminding and warning him. The Tang patrol officials gathered outside the door and whispered for a full 15 minutes. Then they came back with heavy faces. Xiao Bei, the special spokesperson, said, "Yang Yunting, we have made a decision about your matter." Hearing this, Yang Yunting tried to make himself look as calm as possible. He squeezed out an out-of-shape smile. The way the muscles on his face kept moving made him look like he was crying. "We've decided to leave the matter of you and Gong Shu to your brother and sister to decide." Xiao Bei's tender and clear voice sounded again. Why? Yang Yunting squeezed out a sentence from his throat. "It's because your matters are too complicated. We're too young and haven't learned much, so we're stumped. Face is important to us, but justice is even more important. Who asked us to be patrol inspectors? This time, many people are going to be unlucky, especially the few patrol inspectors who patrol the various armies. The imperial court gave them a lot of benefits, not just for show." Xiao Bei looked very unhappy. Perhaps it was because she, who thought of herself as an adult, finally realized that they could not handle everything. Yang Yunting sighed and did not speak again. He nodded to show that he accepted his fate. However, his son, Yang Danzi, gathered his courage and asked Xiao Bei, "My father did something wrong. What about your father? Your father is the Minister of Works. Would he be fine if someone leaked the information?" "Whether my father is fine or not has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to absolve my father and say that it's the responsibility of the people in the Ministry of Works. My father doesn't know. I'm just saying that I'll let whoever makes my father uncomfortable know what it means to be uncomfortable. Because I know that my father is the best. He is good to his family, good to his subordinates, good to his colleagues, good to his work, and loyal to the great Tang. My father is a true gentleman, at least more so than my brother, even though my brother always says that he is a true gentleman." Then he turned to the local children and said, "Come with us. We'll treat you to dinner." "I'm not going. I want to accompany my father." Yang Danzi clearly didn't think that food was more important than family, even if he could eat the food personally cooked by Zhang Xiaobao. Yang Yunting patted his son's head in relief. "Go, you can speak for your father when you go." "All right." Yang Danzi rolled his eyes and agreed. When Xiao Bei and the others returned to the restaurant, Zhang Xiaobao had already prepared the food. He had received the news in advance that his younger brother and sister wanted to invite others to dinner and had some troublesome matters to deal with. There was a table that was 3 meters long, 2 meters wide, and 1 meter tall. There were no less than 16 dishes on it. They were all placed on large plates, but there were no stools. It seemed that they were planning to let the children eat as they pleased in a buffet style. Xiao Bao, my father didn't betray the great Tang. As soon as the banquet started, Yang Danzi grabbed the hem of his clothes with both hands and looked up at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao looked serious and nodded firmly. "I already know. Don't worry, your father won't be worse than before." "Will he be executed?" Yang Danzi was still nervous. "Why are you so stupid? I already said that you'll be better than before. How can you live after you die? You're much more stupid than your sister. Eat," the little boy said happily to Yang Danzi. "Do you want to be beaten? Afraid of you? If you have the guts, let's fight on horseback." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not accompany the children to eat, leaving enough space for the children to play. The two sat opposite each other and cooked hot pot, the copper hot pot with a chimney, burning charcoal. With pickled cabbage, fatty meat slices as the base, and some small crabs and shrimps, there are noodles, blood sausage, frozen tofu in the plate, only cabbage, and the rest are all fresh mutton slices. The wine pot is boiling with white wine, and the dipping sauce is simple chives and garlic sauce. There is no fermented bean curd. The main thing is that fermented bean curd and pickled cabbage are more enjoyable than eating raw seafood. The smell is unbearable for the two. Eat. I didn't expect to find talents in the Jiao Yuan. Zhang Xiaobao picked up a piece of meat and swung it back and forth in the pot, saying happily, "It's the inspector's dereliction of duty." It's estimated that they thought that the local army would not have any major problems, so they dared to deal with it. Unlike the personnel of the inspection administrative officials, the local officials always have such an excuse to reach out. My opinion is to assign the inspection personnel. Wang Wan did not move her chopsticks, and her eyes looked at the fire coming out of the hot pot chimney. Zhang Xiaobao simply threw half a plate of meat into the hot pot, boiled it like a stew, picked up the wine pot and tested the temperature. When it was hot, he poured a cup for Wang Wan and himself, and held the wine cup and drank the 3 coins of wine in it. Then he took a deep breath, smacked his lips twice, and said, "Good wine, worthy of Wu Yangye." Wang Wan couldn't help but laugh. You can pull it down, the wine is indeed distilled from 5 kinds of grains, and it has been stored for several years, but what does it have to do with the Wu Yangye you said? The quality and taste of Wu Yangye depends on the wine mud when it is stored in the cellar, okay? Is there such a thing? I really don't know, I just think that all the wines that have been in the cellar for a long time are good to drink. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many famous wines in the world. Every kind of famous wine is related to the cellar age. If there is no wine that belongs to its own history, no matter how good the taste is, it won't be praised. For example, old vinegar, black tea, ambergris, and even a lot of wood used to make violins. Of course, those with short shelf life don't count. Look at the United States, they never take the initiative to mention their own history. But isn't it because their history is short and they don't have a heritage? They are a colonial country, and the local people have a history, but it will not be recognized by the colonial descendants as their own history. This wine, the people at that time drank, was basically blended, and blended to have a unique taste. Unfortunately, no matter how blended, it can only deceive people who don't understand wine. People like me, they can't be deceived. Zhang Xiaobao held the wine cup, and his eyes were deep, following the rotation of the wine cup. Wang Wan glanced at Zhang Xiaobao. Okay, don't be a melancholy bard there. That is not a glass cup for drinking wine, it is porcelain. When you talk about wine, are you looking at the wine cup or the cup? I know you have good taste and experience, so you can taste the quality of the wine. Wrong, I look at the wine cup to tell others that I don't know how to drink, so I never order wine of many years. Every time I drink, I tell the waiter to give me the worst blended wine. That way, they can't deceive me, and I only pay for the worst wine. They must be stupid, right? I am stupid. They actually mixed ordinary white wine into my orange juice and called it a cocktail. In the end, I paid for the whole cup of wine. Is orange juice and wine the same price? Now we are talking about how to deal with this matter, and it has nothing to do with wine. I was led astray by you. Wang Wan finally reacted. Zhang Xiaobao put down the wine cup, pondered for a moment, and said, "You didn't. There are many legends about the origin of the name of the cocktail, but I think they are all incorrect. The biggest characteristic of this wine is that it has different flavors and distinct levels. In order to show this, the color of the wine is very rich, just like the gall chicken. The color of the body is divided into different levels, from head to tail, so it is called this name. The translated chicken is not the head, but the head. The color of the wine is the same as the color of the gall chicken. Some people just drink at random and don't try to taste every kind of wine that is blended in. Some people specifically point out every kind of wine that is added in to show their purity and knowledge. What about you? Which one do you choose?" Wang Wan was led astray again. "I choose the one with relatively less orange juice. Otherwise, it is not worth spending the money to buy juice. But many young people choose to drink casually, and many people who feel that they have status specifically taste it. What I admire most is the old people drinking this wine. After drinking a mouthful of wine, the smile on their face is more complex and chaotic than the cocktail. As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he poured himself another cup. Wang Wan pretended to be enlightened and nodded, then asked, "Is it related to what I just said about how to deal with this matter?" Yes, the reason why the old people are better at tasting wine is because they have experienced too many years. Time is actually a cocktail. When too much time has passed, we realize that there is no need to distinguish the taste of each age. Life is full of ups and downs. Without color, what is the point of living? So, since Yang Fei made things complicated for simple purposes, we will agree with him, and then deal with him according to his thoughts. Let him slowly understand the complexity of the simple punishment. Zhang Xiaobao raised his head and drank all the wine in the cup. Wang Wan reached out to stop Zhang Xiaobao before he touched the wine pot and said, "You don't need to drink to drown your sorrows in other people's matters, right? You still haven't said how to deal with him, for example." For example, in the past, he was afraid that he didn't have the ability. In fact, he didn't want to be inferior to others, at least not inferior to his junior brother. We arranged for him to do chores under his junior brother, clean the laboratory equipment, and hand tools and experimental materials to other researchers. Eat, don't let me eat alone. Zhang Xiaobao reached out with his chopsticks and scooped up a lot of meat and put it on the plate in front of Wang Wan. Wang Wan nodded and lowered her head to eat the meat. She threw the small crabs that were accidentally brought up back into the pot and drank a cup of wine. She said, "Wuliangye is really good, but don't you think that if we deal with it according to what you said, we will be burying a talent?" Zhang Xiaobao didn't answer immediately. He continued to put a lot of food into the pot and covered it with a lid that had a hole in the middle that could fit the chimney. He listened for a while before saying, "It's not burying." Wang Wan blinked and waited for him to continue. Yang Yunting may think that he has learned very well. A person who designed a lathe through self-study, in my opinion, he is still far from it. I don't think that he is very good at learning to this extent in 4 years. Maybe he is proud, but can he be more proud than you and me? From now on, if I don't do other tiring things, I will be like him. In 2 years, I can make a better lathe than him. Who can go to the Ministry of Works Research Department isn't a genius. If I really let him be an important researcher, how long will he have to delay that project? Letting him do chores is a simple order. Learning while doing chores is complicated. I let him see the abilities of others, let him understand the profoundness of the industry as a whole, and let him understand that one person is not as good as a team with good teamwork. Didn't we just see the blueprint that he designed? The lathe is really good. He thinks that he is qualified to enter the Ministry of Works with that blueprint. I think he thinks that he can be above others, but that is because his junior kept secretly showing him the blueprint of the Ministry of Works lathe. His results are based on other people's hard work. If we don't train him, the Ministry of Works won't be able to control him in the future. I can't bear to kill him, right? After saying this, Zhang Xiaobao looked at the wine cup in silence. Wang Wan helped Zhang Xiaobao fill the wine cup. "Yes, you are right. Just like you, when we caught you, we wouldn't kill you. We would let you hand over your property first, then train you and let you receive ideological education." Yang Fei arranged this. "What about Gong Shuhe?" "Him? Bring him along. I have a better place to settle him. To be honest, I prefer to deal with Gong Shuhe slowly." Zhang Xiaobao suddenly became happy, like a child who had found a new toy. Chapter 1176. The moon has set once again, and the sun has risen once again. Zhang Xiaobao and his party, who did not intend to stay in Jiuyuan County, set off. Yang Fei and Yang Yunting were finally arranged to work in the Ministry of Works as they wished. The difference was that it was different from the kind of work he imagined. It was not a researcher, nor a specific person in charge of a project, but a handyman. Before the team boarded the ship, Yang Fei chased after them and dared to ask Zhang Xiaobao why he was given the same ident. "Tai as an apprentice. The machine tool you made is really good, but for us the technical level is too low. It is nothing more than the synchronization of the 3 speeds of the vertical axis when the horizontal axis is given, but I ask for a 3-axis linkage. You think about it. Zhang Xiaobao dropped a sentence and irresponsibly boarded the ship. What is a 3-axis linkage? Yang Fei was stunned. Little Hai kindly told him when he passed by. There is an axis that is not on the same plane as the horizontal or vertical cross-section of the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, but it can be moved at the same time and can do 3-dimensional carving. How do you do it? Yang Fei was surprised. Even children know? When you do a good job as a handyman, you will understand. Little Hai also left an irresponsible sentence. When the fleet disappeared from the sight of the people at the dock, Yang Fei was still squatting on the ground to draw a 3-dimensional picture. Wang Wan stood at the bow of the ship with Zhang Xiaobao and said to him, "You are really bad enough, and you also have a 3-axis linkage. Do you know what a linkage is?" As a successful liar, there is nothing in the world that I don't know. A 3-axis linkage is that 1 axis, 2 axes, and 3 axes move together so that the car can drive. Otherwise, if there is an axis that is not moving, either the axis is broken or the bearing is idling there. Of course, if it is in gear, it may be that the gear is not in gear and it is in an idle state. Zhang Xiaobao said with a pedantic face. Wang Wan nodded. You're right. Liars are good at changing concepts. What's the difference between the 3 axes when you're driving and the 1 axis on a machine tool? If you include the steering wheel, you can probably come up with a theory of a 10-axis linkage. Zhang Xiaobao squinted his eyes against the sunlight shining on the river. He looked very peaceful. Thank you. I can't believe you remembered my good points. Have you seen Gong Shuha? I saw him get on the boat earlier. Wang Wan looked back and said, he should be in the cabin. I think he's very sad. It wasn't easy for him to earn some money and make a few friends, but they're all gone because of you. No matter what you say, he's really attentive to logistics, even if his purpose is to give Yang Fei's method a big favor or sell it for a good price. Yes, I admit that Gong Shuha was definitely a good official and a good professor in our time. It's a pity that he didn't have a good idea and was caught by Xiao Bei and the others. We reached out and brought him along to help him. Otherwise, what kind of consequences do you think he would have suffered? Zhang Xiaobao sighed. Wang Wan smiled and said, if we didn't bring him along, he would have been sent to Jing. Li Longji is used to being with us. Plus, when Xiao Bei and the others are around, it's lively and warm. After leaving for such a long time, it'll be very troublesome. If he suddenly found out that Xiao Bei and the others sent an official back, he would definitely skin Gong Shuha alive. When you mentioned Gong Shuha earlier, did he have anything to do with the professor? Many professors don't do their own research anymore. The students under them are beautiful and can be used to soothe the body. Those who aren't beautiful naturally have to contribute results. If you don't let me put my name at the front, I won't let you graduate. Zhang Xiaobao was still smiling. Suddenly, he saw a fish jump out of the river in front of him. His mood improved. He continued, it's better now. The students know how to respect their teachers, and the teachers know what it means to be a role model. Yes, soothing the body is a good use of the idiom. According to what you said, it can also help to solve physiological needs. Gong Shuha's younger brother went too far. He dared to pass on technical information. Regardless of whether the result is good or bad, his actions are wrong. Wang Wan remembered the matter of confidentiality. Idiom? Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. Well, count it as an idiom. People who understand the dialectical relationship of contradictions should never always stare at difficulties, but should find opportunities in threats. A hypocrite who doesn't know how to find an entry point to attack his opponent and shirk responsibility when he is in trouble is definitely not a good official. For example, Wang Wan waited for Zhang Xiaobao to give an answer. As for the words of the official, it was taken as a passing wind. For example, send a telegram back to ask for further attention to confidentiality measures, improve the patriotic ideology of the staff in the Ministry of Works, increase the basic investment in defense, and build an excellent guard team. Zhang Xiaobao opened his mouth. Wang Wan blinked and frowned. Tell me the details. I've already understood the spirit of the central government. The specific things are done by the people below. Have you ever seen any general secretary farming by himself? The emperor has a field of 3 acres for fun. Don't stare at me. The specific thing is to go back and publicize what happened in the Jiuyuan. Then the Ministry of Works will leak a lot of technology in private and secretly put a high price on it to see who wants to buy it. Zhang Xiaobao was stared at by Wang Wan and finally said something. It's easy to leak secrets. It's true, but it's fake technology. We'll catch him later. It's just a case of phishing. The intelligence department has nothing to do anyway. I'll take a break and meet Gong Shuha at dinner. Zhang Xiaobao stretched and walked toward the cabin. It's pitiful. Wang Wan was sad for Gong Shuha and followed him. In a small cabin on the flagship, there is now fog, to be precise, steam. Gong Shuha watched the electric stove alone to boil water and make tea. The water was poured into the teapot. The kettle continued to be filled with water and boiled there, making a steam in the cabin. The tea was good tea. Gong Shuha had tasted it. It was not preferential treatment for him. The worst tea on the ship was much better than what he could buy. Cup after cup of tea went into his stomach. In the beginning, the taste of the tea was light, and he changed it again. Later, his mouth was numb. He could no longer distinguish between the dry taste and the aftertaste. It was as if drinking water was the taste of tea, and even breathing was the same. But Gong Shuha spat out the tea tip that he had just chewed. He stared at the teacup made of purple sand and watched the steam rise. He muttered, "Did I take advantage of him? I don't have any money. It wasn't easy to take the method of flying sheep for myself. I sold part of it to the logistics of other armies to make money, and part of it was given away as a favor. Now I have nothing left. I have to think about it." As he said that, he really started to think. He tilted his head and tapped his hand on the table. It was as if he was trying to figure out what had gone wrong. After half an hour, a look of realization appeared in his eyes. He muttered again, "Favor really can't compare to money. Money really can't compare to favor. Zhang Xiaobao took away all my money and taught the people who owed me a favor a lesson. The favor left behind in the past became hatred. Good, this is a good move. I shouldn't have kept the favor back then. I should have exchanged it all for money and then hid some of it. No, I was afraid when I looked at Zhang Xiaobao. I should have exchanged it all for favor and then used it. It's troublesome to have the people above me owe me a favor. If I go up, I can't be better than Zhang Xiaobao. If you give me another chance, I will use this favor to help those who are not as good as me. I can help a lot. Even if half of them are ungrateful in the end, there will still be half who can help me with small matters. Zhang Xiaobao can't possibly take care of his subordinates, right? Yes, it was my mistake. I can't blame anyone else. Who told me to not have a good position? This time, I escaped a disaster. Since Zhang Xiaobao brought me on board, how could he kill me? As long as I'm alive, there will be a chance in the future." Suddenly, Gong Shu he understood the situation clearly. He no longer worried about the past and began to plan for the future. He reached out to turn off the electric stove, got up, and opened the door. He took a deep breath of the cool air outside and slowly exhaled. He smiled at the person guarding the door and said, "Excuse me, I'm hungry. Get me a bowl of thick porridge. A big bowl, a small plate of pickles, and 4 meat buns." The guard turned around and went to take care of it. After a while, he returned with a tray in his hand. There was a big bowl of porridge, 4 steamed buns the size of a fist, and 4 small plates of pickled vegetables. As soon as the tray approached, Gong Shuha smelled the smell of shrimp oil. "Thank you. It's worth it to be able to eat the food cooked by the chef in the inner courtyard." Gong Shu he took the tray and thanked him. He happily turned around and went in. The guard was very surprised. He couldn't understand why Gong Shu he, who was a prisoner, didn't have the awareness of a prisoner. Gong Shu he didn't care about what others thought. He ate the bun in 3 bites and drank the porridge with the pickles. Happy wrinkles squeezed onto his face. "It smells good. It smells good. I'm alive. Since yesterday, I haven't had a moment of peace. I'll catch up on some sleep later." Gong Shu he ate and went to sleep. Xiao Bei and the others, who were watching from the side of the cabin, looked at each other. It's no wonder brother didn't teach him a lesson. His psychological quality is excellent. At this point he can still adjust himself. In one day he's fine. There's no need to worry. He's really awesome. He can still sleep soundly after eating and drinking. It's just like what Sister said, this place of peace is my home. He's a talent, a 1 in a million talent. Xiao Bei looked through the small hole and saw that Gong Shu he had just fallen asleep and was already snoring. Don't use words blindly. I feel that this place of peace is my home, but there's still a trace of helplessness, Xiao Yuan gently corrected. Do you think he has nigh now? Xiao Bei asked. Has nigh? What kind of nonsense is that? The opposite of helplessness is nigh? Xiao Yuan hated it when people made mistakes. Understand? Who said that I can't use words that didn't exist before? Did you notice? We finally dealt with someone, but in the end, we lost the chance to judge him. It's not fun, right? Where can we find fun again? If I don't deal with people for a few days, I can't find a place to feel comfortable. Xiao Bei seemed very regretful. Xiao Hai and the others also sighed. They thought that bad people were not easy to catch. Xiao Yuan's eyes turned and he suggested, why don't we ask Gong Shu he? He's always around, so he knows a lot about all kinds of schemes. He'll think of a way. If it works, we'll give him a sum of money. That works too. The unluckiest ones aren't him and Yang Danzi's father, but the people who patrol the army. There's a batch every month. They didn't find the first batch, and they still didn't find the second batch. If they don't get beheaded, they'll be exiled. At worst, they'll be locked up for 8 to 10 years. Xiao Bei thought about the patrol and shook his head. He had a self-satisfied look on his face. Because you're different from them. Zhang Xiaobao's voice suddenly came from the door. Chapter 1177. Brother, the person you found is really good. Look at how he's sleeping. He's even snoring. Seeing his brother come, Xiao Bei immediately rushed over. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. He was obviously very satisfied. He continued, the Tang Empire's inspectors are trying to find evidence to prove that there is something wrong with the officials. When you see an official, you immediately inferred that he is guilty and maliciously speculated about him. If the officials want to get rid of you, they can only prove that they are not guilty. During the process of the official's proof, you maliciously analyze that every word he says is false. Therefore, the official is definitely innocent and he can't run away from being innocent. But the inspectors can't do that. If they need the official to prove himself every time, once a month, or even once every half a month, the official won't have to do anything else. Wang Wan also added, and everywhere you go, the local people will help you. You don't have to be afraid of revenge. If it's the inspectors who ask the local officials, if they don't find any evidence, they are afraid that the officials will take revenge. That's right. Xiao Bei nodded. Whoever dares to take revenge on our witnesses will definitely die. If they really take revenge on us, as long as they are not dealt with cleanly and a survivor runs to any shop owned by our family to complain, my family's spies will immediately arrest them. That's not just the crime of taking revenge on the witnesses, but also against the emperor. We patrol the place on behalf of the emperor. Even if the emperor lets them go, I won't let them go. But why don't our family's spies always arrest people? If they are not evil or seriously affect the local people's lives, we can't do anything about it. If we do, how will the imperial court take its position? We can only take action when the people are in dire straits. But now that there are so many people patrolling, the officials don't dare to let the people under their rule know that they can't live anymore. Otherwise, they will be the ones to die. Zhang Xiaobao explained. Okay, let the imperial court take care of the matters of the imperial court. Let's go get the textbooks. Xiao Bei knew that his brother and sister had come over. It was time for class. Gong Shuha slept until it was time to turn on the lights. The temperature in the cabin dropped. He did not cover himself with a blanket, so he was naturally woken up. He had just woken up and hadn't adapted yet. He opened his eyes and looked around. It was dark and very uncomfortable. After thinking for a while, he knew where he was. A feeling of emptiness spread through his whole body. He grinned and sighed. He bit and moved his sore and numb body and said to himself, I'm sorry, but I don't have enough strength. Everything will get better. There is hope as long as I am alive. Others can laugh at me and look down on me, but they don't have the right to deprive me of my right to live. A strong lone wolf can move unhindered across the grassland. Only a strong person can enjoy life. Nothing can make me feel bad. No one can expect to be happy when they see me suffer. Eat, and worry about annoying things. Do whatever you want. After hinting to himself, Gong Shuhe was in a much better mood. He rubbed his face with his hands, got off the couch, and pushed open the door. All kinds of colored lights illuminated the deck and the cabin high above the deck. At the same time, they were also illuminated by the starry sky. It made the gloomy atmosphere in the darkness disappear. A lively night is fucking beautiful. Have you changed, people? Are you tired? Gong Shuhe raised his head and asked. He then greeted the other guards standing at the door. The guard knew that people who woke up at night were not feeling well, so he smiled back and said, I'm not tired. Brother Li is sick. I told him to put on more clothes, but he didn't listen. He finally got sick from the cold. He kept sneezing and has a fever. Gong Shuhe was speechless. After a while, he said to the guard in front of him, Are you happy that he's sick? It's not a serious illness. He'll be scolded later. Last time, when I was sick, he was happy too. He said I could slack off. The guard did not think it was wrong for him to be happy. Gong Shuhe smacked his lips. He felt that the guard was not gloating over his misfortune. He was concerned, so he did not want to scold him. He was not in a position to do so. Considering that he had nothing to do, he said to the guard, I'll go see Guard Li. Show me the way. Medical cabin. It's written there. The guard pointed. All right. Gong Shuhe walked leisurely as he read the words on the ship's cabin. What are you doing? Gong Shuhe followed the words to the medical cabin, but he was immediately stopped. Gong Shuhe showed a sad expression and replied with great pain, I'm looking at Guard Li. Go to the cabin next door. Take a shower and change. Gong Shuhe went in. Because of the conditions in the area, he had not showered for half a month. He had not changed his clothes for 10 days. After tidying himself up, he felt much better. When he was about to go in, the person who had stopped him said, Don't look like a dead person. You're at a funeral. Look at your face. Li Quan's illness is not serious. Oh, I have to smile when I see a sick person. Gong Shuhe smiled at the person who had stopped him before he was allowed to go in. As soon as he entered, he saw Guard Li leaning against the bed. He was reading a book in one hand and had a needle in the other. Li Quan looked very distressed. His mouth was down, and his eyebrows were furrowed. His head was tilted. One of his eyes was half closed, and the other was looking at the words on the book. It made people feel his helplessness and depression. Ha, Guard Li, have you been pricked? Tell me, how do you feel? Have you eaten? Gong Shuhe looked happy and asked a few questions in a row. Li Quan was troubled. When he heard the sound, he knew that the person was looking for him because he was the only patient with the surname Li in the medical cabin. He put the book on his lap and looked up at Gong Shuhe for a while. He sighed and said, Yes, it's just a bottle of water. I have a fever and my stomach is not feeling well. They are afraid that I will increase the pressure in my body if I eat, so they gave me saline. They will probably give me a bowl of soup later. They won't let me eat anything else for now. Gong Shuhe was relieved. It seemed that the problem was not serious. Otherwise, they would not have given him saline. However, the doctors from the Zhang family and the Wang family took care of him very carefully. He was envious. Your fever is gone now? Gong Shuhe asked with concern since he was here to see a patient. My fever dropped from 39 degrees in the afternoon to a little more than 38 degrees. They said that they would let me have a fever for a while, but it did not go down. They wanted to use physical cooling. If I had known, I would have worn more clothes. Li Quan was troubled again. He glanced at the book again. Gong Shuhe looked down and saw that the cover had the words, The Habitual Perspective of Humans. He asked curiously, This book is for the guards to read. The guards are not only responsible for guarding the door, but they also need to protect the surroundings. They have nothing to do anyway, Li Quan said as he touched the cover of the book. Gong Shuhe was about to praise him when two beautiful girls came over. One sat 20 degrees to Li Quan's side, and the other knelt on the bed behind Li Quan. The person behind Li Quan reached out and pressed his head. The person beside her took out a thermometer and said to Li Quan, "Take a temperature. What do you want to eat for dinner?" "Boiled eggs." Li Quan asked them to put the thermometer under his armpit. "No, change it. Roasted lamb leg. Add more cumin and chili." "No, change it. Whatever." Gong Shuha wanted to laugh when he heard their question and answer, but Li Quan laughed first. Gong Shuha laughed and said to the girls, "You asked him and he didn't let you eat. Why are you asking him?" "What do you know?" The girl asked Gong Shuha. "I'm not asking him what he wants to eat. I'm asking him to relax. There is a lot to learn about the actions of medical personnel. Let me tell you. Do you think the medical cabin is big?" Gong Shuha nodded. "It's big. It's more than 10 times the size of my place. Do you have any idea?" "Of course. It's good for air circulation if it's big, but it's empty when it's big. That's why there are many medical personnel in the room. It's mealtime now, so there are people chatting and playing chess. At the same time, we have to keep an eye on the patient's expression. If the patient is upset, we will lower our voices. If the patient is not energetic, we will use a partition to separate the bed. Our goal is to let the patients feel comfortable and warm. They feel that even if they are sick, everything in life is beautiful. They don't have any other psychological burden. The most important thing to consider is to recover from the illness as soon as possible." The nurse's voice was very sweet and soft. It made people feel comfortable listening to it. This lady's words are really nice. Gong Shuha continued nodding and praising her. "That's why I'm the one talking to Li Quan. My tone and expression have been specially trained. Look at where I'm sitting. I can't sit further back. That way, the patient's front will be too empty. If the voice comes from behind, he will be more alert. I can't move too far forward. It will affect the patient's vision. Because Li Quan is a bodyguard, he attaches great importance to the 30-degree and 45-degree angles, so I can't enter that area. At the same time, I'm sitting at the 20-degree angle, so Li Quan can see me from the corner of his eyes without turning his head." The nurse explained again. At the same time, she moved her body slightly to make it look less rigid. Gong Shuha was shocked. He didn't expect the medical personnel of the Zhang family and Wang family to take the patient's occupational habits into consideration. At the same time, he felt touched. He thought that the logistics he was in charge of was considerate enough in many aspects. However, compared to the Zhang family and Wang family, he realized that the difference was huge. The difference was like heaven and earth, and they were even in the basement. "You guys think so much. I think it will be very tiring." Gong Shuha immediately thought of another aspect. If they cared too much about others, they would definitely feel uncomfortable. "It's tiring. We are working. When we are not working, we are not tired. When we sleep and rest, we know that Li Quan and the other guards are guarding outside. When we eat, we know that the chefs will research new dishes according to the tastes of each group. Our meals are served 24 hours a day. They are not prepared in advance and heated up, but there are chefs on duty waiting for us to order," the nurse said with a blissful look on her face. Gong Shuha listened and was full of envy. He felt that a lone wolf on the grassland was not as good as a pack of wolves. If he had a warm home that he needed to protect, he would be stronger when facing all kinds of difficulties outside. Just as Gong Shuha thought that he was part of the Zhang family and Wang family, a voice came from the door. The young lady and the young master are looking for Gong Shuha for questioning. The warmth and solidity that had just risen in Gong Shuha's heart turned into the tenacity and sadness that a lone wolf needed to have. He could only stand up unwillingly. He squeezed out a smile at Li Quan and the two girls nearby and nodded. He turned around, pursed his lips, and walked away. Chapter 1178. Gong Shuha was led all the way up. When he reached the top of the ship, the path became narrower and narrower. It was only 5 steps wide. Gong Shuha, who had never been to the top of a ship before, scanned the surrounding scenery. He wanted to remember it in his heart. He might not have the chance to do it again in the future. The only thing that made him feel at ease was that he knew he wouldn't die. He wouldn't even be imprisoned. It wasn't that his crimes were small. If he made a mistake, no matter how small, and the 9 children caught him, he would be beheaded or executed. That was innocent plus 5. Of course, none of the people caught by the 9 children were innocent. If they were innocent, they wouldn't catch them. We're here. Wait. The person leading the way told Gong Shuha. He first pressed a button-like thing by the door. Then, there was the sound of a flute, which surprised Gong Shuha. What was that? Someone played the flute as soon as he pressed it? Let him in. There was the sound of a trumpet. Gong Shuha knew this person. The person leading the way opened the door and gestured for Gong Shuha to go in. Then he turned around and left. Gong Shuha stepped in. He had clearly hinted that he wasn't afraid, but when he faced it he suddenly felt an inexplicable fear. The room wasn't very big, but it wasn't small either. When he entered, he saw that it was about 6 or 7 steps wide. There was a high seat against the wall with sofas on both sides. In the middle was a large tea table made of frosted glass. It was heavy and elegant. On the left side of the tea table were 2 people, a man and a woman. The man, after seeing the 2 people, Gong Shuha didn't dare to think about anything else. He didn't dare to look at the layout of the room. He quickly lowered his head and said, "Sinner Gong Shuha greets the 2 of you. Don't call us sinner. We are not in charge of investigating. Cuckoo and I are the governor and deputy governor of the northern part of Hebei province. We have no right to interfere with government affairs." So, Zhang Xiaobao opened his mouth and spoke. At the same time, he pointed at the chair opposite them. Gong Shu He Weiwei looked up. His previous calmness was no longer there. His legs couldn't help but tremble. He nervously said, "This official doesn't dare." This official, sit. In the end, Gong Shu He walked over to Zhang Xiaobao and sat down across from him, but he only took up 1/3 of the seat. He had wanted to not sit, but he suddenly felt that if he didn't sit when they asked him to, he would be guilty. Zhang Xiaobao saw him sit down and looked at Wang Wan. Wang Wan nodded and picked up a pen to take notes. Zhang Xiaobao looked at Gong Shuha seriously and asked, "Do you know why I called you here?" Gong Shuha raised his head to answer. He opened his mouth but suddenly fell silent. He kept thinking. As a smart person, he knew that things were not as simple as they seemed. If he answered well, he would be fine. If he answered poorly, the 2 people across from him, who said they didn't care about government affairs, would not be satisfied. He would still be handed over to Xiaobei and the others to deal with according to the rules. Faced with this opportunity, Gong Shuha was a lot more cautious. He didn't care that the 2 of them were waiting for him to answer. He tried to analyze the situation at hand. He revealed everything he had done, including deceiving, bribery, colluding with colleagues, and dealing in logistics. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not in a rush. They patiently waited, hoping for a surprise. Otherwise, they would deal with it as they should. After a full 15 minutes, Gong Shuha raised his head again. His eyes were resolute as he answered, "I know. I am still useful in your eyes." "Why do you say that?" Zhang Xiaobao still asked with a straight face. "Because my identity is not worthy of your attention. Killing me is easier than killing a chicken. To kill a chicken, you need to consider the removal of its feathers and the use of its blood to make blood tofu. Killing me is not that troublesome. When I made a mistake, the 2 of you realized that I had some skill in a certain area, so you could use it." Gong Shuha threw caution to the wind and spoke bluntly. He stared into Zhang Xiaobao's eyes, hoping to see something useful for him. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, did not reveal any emotions. The frequency of his blinking eyes did not change, the expression on his face did not change, and even the rise and fall of his chest when he breathed was not obvious. He was like a sitting monk. While Gong Shuha was disappointed, Zhang Xiaobao finally showed a small smile. It was like the spring wind melting snow, and it was brighter than the sunlight. It made people feel better. Gong Shuha immediately looked forward to it. It was good to have power. Just one expression could make the people below feel different emotions. It was a pity that he was only a 9th-rank official. This time, he didn't even have an official position. It was sad. Thinking about that, Gong Shuha lowered his head again. "Are you scared? If you are scared, it means that you are not confident. You do not have the means to make a final attack. So, you need to train for a while. Otherwise, you will delay the proper business. Tell us, what do you think you are capable of? When Zhang Xiaobao saw Gong Shuha's actions, he felt a little regretful. He then understood. After all, Gong Shuha was not like him or Wang Wan. It was normal for him to be afraid. If he had been a young man back then, even if he was facing the chairman, it would not have mattered. The people on the mountaintop and the ground were the same in each other's eyes. What did the people on the mountaintop cry or laugh have to do with him? Gong Shuha didn't know how vast the world was. After being an official for a long time, he was more afraid of officials who were more powerful than him. When he heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, he was suddenly shocked. He immediately thought that Zhang Xiaobao was going to find a bold person to go out and do things. It was estimated that it was related to the duo cannibal people. After organizing his words, Gong Shuha slowly said, I guess it has something to do with what I did in Jiuyuan County. I pressed Yang Fei and took the good ideas he thought of for my own use first. I wrote letters and sent them to other logistics departments. I even sent them to the east and west roads of Shannon. Some of them were exchanged for money, and some of them were given favors. They took the plan provided by Yang Fei to the court and got a reward. Although I also had the opportunity to report to the court, I knew that I had to be careful about everything. I didn't dare to do it. If I didn't happen to meet you stopping in Jiuyuan, I could still be my own 9th rank official. Now I was caught. At first, I just thought it was bad luck. Today, I figured it out. In fact, it was my luck. Otherwise, when Yang Fei entered the Ministry of Works with his design, the court would inevitably send people to the local area to check his background. At that time, where would I meet you two? Without you two, I am absolutely dead. I was caught by you because there was a problem in my job. I was caught by the court because I bullied the meritorious officials of the Ministry of Works. Gong Shuha said this and looked up at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wang Wan bowed her head and wrote. Zhang Xiaobao was still the same as before. He had to continue to say, I can give the most direct benefits to others when facing the reward of the court, which shows that I know how to endure. I can see the benefits that can be exchanged with others from Yang Fei's plan, which shows that I am smart and good at using all kinds of resources. Tell me what you want me to do. As long as I can do it, I will do it. Oh, and if I can't do it, I will think of a way to do it. Even if I have to go to the front lines and charge. After saying this, Gong Shuha sat there. His heart was completely relaxed. He had said what he needed to say, and he had done what he needed to do. He did what he needed to do. Zhang Xiaobao finally reacted. He turned his head and looked at Wang Wan. He gave Gong Shuha a look of certainty. He smiled and said, That is good. You take a knife and charge to the front lines. You will be a bait for my army. Don't worry. Your life will not be in vain. The moment the enemy attacks you, our cannonballs will definitely cover your position. Gong Shuha shivered. In that case, even if the enemy doesn't kill me, our cannonballs will kill me. Even if you die, you are still a hero. You are more important than Mount Tai. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. Please forgive me. Just pretend I didn't say the last thing, Gong Shuha said with a smile. Now, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were truly satisfied. They were satisfied with how quickly Gong Shuha had adjusted his state of mind. He had only said a few words, but he had immediately turned into a cheeky smile. They had to admit that this was a good skill. Zhang Xiaobao put away the smile on his face. He said to Gong Shuha, Gong Shuha, I order that you are now a private battalion commander of Tang. You are independent of the other administrative departments of Tang. You are only responsible to the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. You are also responsible to the emperor. No one else has the right to question or assign you. What? Private battalion? I know about smuggling. It means secretly transporting goods that are subject to customs duties without paying customs duties. But what is this private smuggling thing? It belongs to the military? It is official smuggling. Gong Shuha was scared. He knew how to smuggle. Zhang Xiaobao was even happier that he knew how to smuggle. He said to him, smuggling is not allowed without an official sanction. Therefore, you must not be caught by the Tang Empire's people who are pursuing smugglers. Others do not know your identity at all. Only our family's spies know. I will tell His Majesty later, and His Majesty will know about you. Gong Shuha opened his mouth slightly. He was very clear in his heart that he was like a foreign spy. In order to hide his identity, he could only choose to run away or die when the border army chased after him. Otherwise, he would implicate other colleagues who were also abroad. They were heroes, but he did not want to be one. I really don't want to do it. Fine, I'll go all out. Do I need to have a superior? I can't always look for you too, and I might not be able to find you immediately. If I am caught, can I become a hero? Gong Shuha thought for a moment and knew what to do. Wang Wan put down her pen and said, "You belong to the Meteor Squad. It was established last year. In the future, someone will contact you. Your code name is Shang Yun. Even if you die, you cannot become a hero, at least not now. You can only get a record of shining. After many years, perhaps your name and file will appear on the list of contributions. If you are caught and don't die, you can escape. Someone will help you escape. After all, when smuggling becomes large-scale, you will have people. When others learn that you have escaped, they will believe you." Meteor Squad? I have never heard of it. Gong Shuha was puzzled. In theory, anyone who has been exposed has already shown. Fortunately, it has been established for a year and has not appeared, Wang Wan explained. Gong Shuha took a deep breath and said, "I understand. It's just like the song, Stargazy Sky, in the military camp. Who shines in the sky, who falls in the night. The Big Dipper may not be eternal. Meteors are just passers-by. They are legends, and also silence. Don't be so tragic. You are a smuggler. If the Tang Empire's inspection team takes action, someone will inform you in advance. The people from other countries can't even coax you. How can they catch you?" Zhang Xiaobao curled his lips and said. Gong Shuha quickly clasped his hands and said, Thank you. I have one last question. Can't you find someone to be a private battalion commander?" "Yes, but then you will die. We can't bear to see a person with a little ability be killed. Remember, you have died once." After Xiaobei and Xiaoyuan returned to the capital, they always wanted to catch a few people to reflect the value of their existence, but others were smart enough to hide. "Do you understand?" Zhang Xiaobao reminded him. "I understand. Others are hiding. You didn't get off the ship and ran to the Jiuyuan to rest. I was killed by a group of children. Why did they have to invite Xiaobei and the others to eat barbecue? To be exact, I died in the hands of Yang Danzi's sister, and that old yellow dog his sister." After Gong Shuha vented the depression in his heart, he suddenly thought of something and immediately became happy again. He happily asked, "Am I a member of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang families? Food is provided 24 hours on the ship. Go eat, foodie." Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand like a fly. Gong Shuha stood up excitedly. "You two sit down. I am really hungry." After solving Gong Shuha's problem, the fleet continued to go against the current, stopping occasionally on the way. Before the group arrived at their destination, Yang Fei flew down with the flow of the river and arrived at the capital. His family was still in the area. He was now a menial worker and could not bring his family to live in the capital. The daily expenses were too high. Yang Fei planned to make achievements in the Ministry of Works and then bring his relatives to enjoy life. What he didn't know was that his family had already been brought over. For those who worked in the Ministry of Works, their family members had to be well protected. It was just like how Xiaobei and the others were surrounded by guards when they went out on a trip. Stupid plots like this where one's family members were threatened due to lack of consideration would only appear in TV series. Yang Fei's relatives needed to wait for him to make some achievements before they were allowed to meet him, otherwise he would be even prouder. In a place guarded by layers of troops on the outskirts of the capital, Yang Fei saw the research site of the Ministry of Works. After the 100-meter-wide ring of forest, there were bald mountains, blue water, and hot air balloons echoing the white clouds in the sky. Without asking, Yang Fei knew that the 100-meter-wide woods were used to block the line of sight because there were thorns between the trees. There were definitely many people hiding in them. Even if others were lucky enough to pass through the woods, it would be difficult to hide in the open place. So rich. Seeing such a large area in the capital's outskirts, Yang Fei sighed before he saw what was inside. Senior brother, you're finally here. I was so worried that you were caught. If Xiaobei and the others caught you, even if they didn't die, they would lose a layer of skin. Good. Where are sister-in-law and uncle? While Yang Fei was observing his surroundings, a person ran over from the opposite side and pulled on his hand as he spoke with concern. Oh, it's Hong Yang. They didn't come. I'll bring them over in a few days. I was also worried about you and was afraid that you would be implicated. You look good, Yang Fei said excitedly. What can happen to me? I was warned once, so I'll be more strict in the future. Since senior brother is here, you will definitely make some achievements. Don't be depressed. If Xiao Bao and Cuckoo really didn't like you, they wouldn't have sent you here. It's necessary to suppress you. Senior brother, follow me. Yang Fei's junior brother grabbed Yang Fei's hand and happily led the way. The two walked for a while and then took a boat to float on the water for an hour. Finally, they landed on solid ground and came to a hill. Then they went up the stairs. First, they went up a flight of stairs with 354 steps and then a small platform. Then, they went up another flight of stairs with 29 steps and then another small platform. After that, they reached a flat area. This flight of stairs is built according to the calendar, so it says, day after day, year after year. Am I right? Yang Fei was actually in the mood to count while walking. His junior brother nodded repeatedly. Senior brother is still the best. I walked by it many times before, but then I heard someone talking about it. Look at the two sides. Actually, there will be a fire lit on the pillars at night to show that scientific research will continue day and night. The person who designed this place really put in a lot of effort, Yang Fei praised. What's there to think about? I heard that Xiaobao casually mentioned it, and then he and Yao Wen spent half the night drawing it. Including the other designs, where would the two of them have the time to put in so much effort? His junior brother explained. They don't count. I'm talking about people, they aren't people, Yang Fei said gloomily. Chapter 1179. As they walked forward, they saw a big hall. It was 3 meters high and had vermilion painted pillars. There was a horizontal board with 3 words on it. Hall of Ridicule. Gushin this? Yang Fei saw the hall and asked his junior brother. Gushin was the name of his junior brother, Su Jian, Su Gushin. In fact, the corners of Su Jian's mouth curled up, revealing a smile. He gestured with his hand and said, Senior martial brother, follow me in and you will know. Yang Fei, who had many questions in his mind, had to follow his junior brother. As soon as he entered the main hall, he saw a large glass cover on the first seat on the left. It covered an iron cupboard, and there was an object in the middle. It was made up of 4 wheels connected by a string, and there was a hook on it. Pulley block. Yang Fei recognized the object and looked at the corner. There was a bronze board with the words on it. Pulley block, 3rd year of Kaiyuan, spring, 2nd month. Designed by Zhang Wang Erzwang, Sanshui County, Mengzhou, Jiangxi Province. Yang Fei suddenly understood and said, Pulley block is from Zhang Wang and Wang family. Why is it in the book? Senior brother, please go ahead. Su Jian led his senior brother to the next glass cover. This glass cover was big. There was a horizontal hollow wooden barrel in the middle, a wooden block, and a few wedges. There was also a bronze board next to it that said, Soybean oil press, 3rd year of Kaiyuan, 4th month. Designed by Zhang Wang Erzwang, Sanshui County, Mengzhou, Jiangxi Province. At this moment, Yang Fei didn't need his junior brother's introduction. He walked through the glass covers one by one. There was one or several objects in each cover. There was also a bronze board next to it to tell the audience what it was, when it was made, and who made it. The objects inside were as small as a grain of rice and as big as a boulder. Yang Fei looked at them one by one. His eyes were full of emotions. When he was looking at them, Su Jian said, Senior brother, it's not too late to look at them carefully another day. There are thousands of objects in this hall. There is only one hall in the whole mountain. We can't see all of them today. Let's look at the back. Okay. Yang Fei said, but his feet didn't move until he was pulled by someone. He reluctantly followed his junior brother all the way to the end. Senior brother, please take a look. Su Jian pointed at the sixth last glass cover. Yang Fei was dumbfounded. After a while he said, This horizontal and vertical axis combination lathe? Su Jian and Wei Wei nodded. Please read the records. Motor-powered double-shaft linkage synchronous feed combination multifunctional lathe, the 18th year of Kaiyuan, summer, April, the Jiuyuan Logistics Battalion, Yang Fei, Yang Yunting, collected the design theory of Feng Yu, Fan Cheng, Song Xian from the Industrial Research Department of the Tang Dynasty and integrated the Design Research Institute. Yang Fei read out word by word in surprise. When the last word was spoken, tears flowed out of Yang Fei's eyes. Junior brother, I am a sinner, why did you carve my name? Back then, it was just a design, who would have thought that it would be completed so quickly? Because there are other lathes, when senior brother came back, someone started to make it. As for senior brother's sin, it has nothing to do with the research results. If you designed it, you designed it. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo will not erase your name for such a small thing. In the future, when they make something, they will still engrave senior brother's name. We will encourage them. Su Jian did not look at senior brother's tears, but touched the big glass cover and said softly. Yang Fei raised his sleeve and wiped his eyes. He had already understood the meaning of this hall. He nodded seriously. Certainly, I didn't expect that a craftsman like me could leave a name for later generations. I have no regrets in this life. Senior brother is not only a craftsman, but also a Juren. Oh, we will go out first, and come back to see when we have leisure time. Su Jian led senior brother out again. When he reached the door, Yang Fei suddenly stopped and looked at a couplet engraved inside the door. He was curious. What does it mean that the couplet is not engraved outside but engraved inside the door? On the right side of the couplet was written, mocking the ancients, laughing at the ancients. As a high scholar, Yang Fei understood the meaning of the couplet. It said that it could mock the ancients, but it could also mock them. How good would it be to make something so small? Thinking about it, he felt that it made sense. People in the future would definitely make something better. He looked at the second couplet and saw that it said, glory in this world, glory in this world. The meaning of this sentence was that it was better to make something better today. Even if it was a huge object, it would not be difficult to make. Yes, our future generations would definitely make something better than us. We cannot compare to them. You have to know how small we are now. Yang Fei sighed. Senior brother, wait a minute. Look at your feet. There is no more space left for the couplet. Just engrave it on the ground. Su Jian pointed to the ground and said. Yang Fei listened and took a closer look. Wasn't it true? There were really words connected at the bottom of the couplet. The first line was starting from scratch and being down to earth should be praised, and the second line was forgetting one's ancestry, drifting flowers and waves without saying a word. This. Yang Fei was shocked and said with a trembling voice, the first part of the couplet is, ridicule the ancients, laugh at the ancients, laugh at the ancients. How many small things can start from scratch and be down to earth? Exclaim in admiration. The second part of the couplet is, glorify the present age. The present age is vast and vast. How can one forget one's ancestors, floating flowers and waves without words? Isn't the purpose of this hall for future generations to mock us? Of course not. The hall of mockery isn't mocking us. It's mocking those who say that the ancients are not good. It's also telling us that even if we make better things in the future, we shouldn't mock our ancestors for not having them. Our ancestors passed down what they knew to us, and we should make better things and pass them down to our descendants. Those who think that our ancestors left behind little should think about what they can leave behind for our descendants. Who's more ridiculous? That's why it's called the Hall of Ridicule. Su Jian looked at the blue sky and white clouds outside the hall and took a deep breath. Yes, we have to do better and not disappoint our ancestors. Our ancestors left us enough things, so we should make more things for our descendants so that they don't have to work so hard and take so many detours. Only then can we be considered to have completed what our ancestors left us. Let's go, take me to other places. The earlier we do things, the earlier we get results. Yang Fei puffed out his chest and urged his junior brother. Outside the door, The spring flowers were shining brightly. The fallen leaves of last year were not visible. For Jiangnan, spring was very warm, but it was not the case in the northwest. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's fleet continued to go against the current, and it actually snowed. They didn't want to waste too much time on the road, so the two urged the fleet to go as fast as they could. The scenery on both sides of the river flashed past their eyes as the rolling yellow river flowed past. After more than a month, they finally arrived at a desolate place. There was a river called the White River here. When it entered the Yellow River, it was in the territory of Sichuan. The two of them needed to go to Zhang Fang's home, which was Idyll. There were many things that their family transported there. At the same time, they needed to reorganize the army at the border with Tufan. Therefore, they chose this branch and changed to the land route when the ship couldn't move forward anymore. Standing at the bow of the ship, Zhang Xiaobao, who was about to disembark, looked at the land in front of him where there were no houses at all. He took a deep breath and said, "Are we really going to do this? Last time, when we fought Tufan, we climbed a section of the snow mountain on the way back. Now we have to go through the grassland and snow mountain again. I hope our team can hold on." "What are you afraid of? The Red Army went through this place during the long march. It's just that we went in the opposite direction, and we missed a large section of the grassland. It's a few hundred kilometers and we can go through it in half a month. It's simple. When the time comes, let the ship continue to carry the things on the Yellow River and go against the current. After we reach Idyll, we can have a good rest for half a month." Wang Wan waved her arm and said with vigor. Zhang Xiaobao swallowed his saliva and said, "Simple? Why don't I see it as simple? Do you know how many people died when the Red Army climbed the snow mountain and crossed the grassland? Do you know what equipment and conditions the Red Army had at that time?" Wang Wan asked and said, "When we go there, we won't be bombed by planes, and we won't lack food. Our clothes are all duck feathers, and we can ask the hot air balloons to help airdrop supplies. Don't worry, we won't let you cook leather belts." "That's true. We don't need to carry too heavy things, and we only need to walk a short distance on the grassland, unlike them who had to walk in the grassland with difficulty. When the time comes, you can follow behind me. I have some experience. After all, I have all-terrain, all-weather equipment. It's just that we didn't choose the right season. Why did we have to come after May? It's just the rainy season." Zhang Xiaobao only knew that they would have to take a long detour if they didn't take this route, so he said with a grin. Wang Wan smiled and said, "When the Red Army crosses the grassland, it's this season. Let's experience it. Fortunately, we don't need to be chased and intercepted at any time. We can tie people up with ropes, and we can pull people up if they fall in. We have time to stand in front of danger and be tools. It's just that Xiaobei and the others have to suffer. It's okay, we have adults to take care of them. Let's go, get off the boat." Zhang Xiaobao also didn't want to suffer this kind of hardship. He called out and the team began to get off the boat. The place where they got off was temporarily safe. As for wild wolves, they would probably run away as soon as they saw people. There was a special medicine to disperse snakes and insects. After the team was organized, 1,000 people were already prepared. The other large teams continued to take the boat to the northwest first. When they reached the border, they disembarked and walked. Then, they set up camp and waited. At the same time, they also assembled the aircraft and built a simple airport for testing. Look at me. Don't let me fall in. No matter how good I am at swimming, I can't swim out. No, I don't need to be carried now. I can still walk." The little guys followed in the middle of the team. They were tied with ropes and walked in deep and shallow water. When they stepped on the mud, they were up to their thighs. Little Xiaobei was frightened and kept crying, but she didn't want to be carried. The other children were also frowning. The place in front of them was much scarier than Hong Nong. Hong Nong was a flood. If they fell in, they could swim out. Even if their legs were entangled by something with their swimming ability, they had time to take out a knife from their bag and cut it. However, they couldn't do it in the swamp now. The team knew that the swamp was dangerous, so they moved very slowly. The straight line distance from the place where they disembarked to Idyll was more than 100 kilometers. The swamp was only 20 kilometers away, and then there was the snow mountain. After 3 days, they passed this grassland, crossed a small snow mountain, and then came the continuous mountains. When they entered the mountains, everyone was relieved. They estimated that they could reach the place after 3 or 4 days of walking and climbing. When they entered the mountains, the people of the protection team felt that the pressure was gone, and the danger could be controlled. "Oh my God, it's tormenting me." Xiaobei, who hadn't taken a bath for a few days, was like a clay figure. Her little face was red from the cold. If it weren't for her watery eyes, people would mistake her for a child who had fled for half a year. Zhang Feng was obviously not relaxed. She looked down the mountain with binoculars and said, "My family lives here? I don't have any impression of it." As she was looking, she suddenly exclaimed, "Hey, there are people at the foot of the mountain. There are so many of them. They are looking at the trees to open a path. The speed of cutting is too fast. It can't be. Where did these people come from? Professional tree cutters?" Chapter 1180. The rest of the people in charge of observing had already discovered this situation. They saw that there were figures moving at the foot of the hill and the top of the mountain in front of them, as well as some small hills in the distance. Along with the movements of the figures, rows of trees were brought down. At the same time, they could see the figures of mules, wheelbarrows, and people carrying poles. There was only one word to describe the speed: fast. Without waiting for others to go forward and ask, the people below had already raised a big flag, fluttering in the wind. The word "I" was written on it. Regular Army of Yingzhou. Xiaobei nodded and said after seeing it. Xiaoyuan also came forward and frowned. Looking at the smoke floating below and in the distance, she said, "I don't remember Yingzhou having a regular army. There are less than 10,000 people in the city, and there are all kinds of strongholds on the mountain. Regular army, unless the current provincial governor has trained the soldiers, but I don't believe that other provincial governors can command the people in the strongholds. Ask brother and sister." Xiaobei was obviously not satisfied with Xiaoyuan's answer. She turned around and was about to ask when she found her brother and sister in front of her. She smiled and pointed behind her. "Look, someone is pretending to be an imperial army and intends to attack us. I think we should prepare a grenade launcher and launch a smoke bomb within 300 meters to cover our troops." Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his sister's head and said, "Don't give orders blindly. The wind is messing things up. They are 2 miles away. If they throw a smoke bomb 300 meters away, we can become smoked food. The people below are our own people." "Oh, brother is still the best. You can tell at a glance that they are our own people." Xiaobei nudged Xiaoyuan, implying that her brother was better than her. Xiaoyuan held back and didn't say anything. Wang Wan smiled and said, "The scouts have reported that they knew 4 hours ago. At that time, they were still 20 miles away from here." Xiaobei was stunned. 20 miles? For hours to cut down trees? Flying? Which unit? Let me see. "Inspector Zhang, we are from the logistics camp of Yingzhou." A voice suddenly sounded not far from Xiaobei. "Are you trying to scare me? Tell me your name. I don't kill nameless ghosts." "What?" Xiaobei quivered and reacted by turning around and putting on a pose of holding a sword with both hands. The man did not continue talking to Xiaobei. His eyes were fixed on Zhang Gang and Zhang Feng, and his mustache was tightly pursed. Zhang Feng also looked back, her eyes darting left and right. Zhang Xiaobao said, "Xiaofeng Xiaozheng, do you know this person?" The two of them shook their heads at the same time. Zhang Feng took 2 steps forward and said, "I don't know him, but I know who he is. He must be my brother's father, right?" "Father, why did you come here personally? Is everything fine in the village?" "Why did you come here personally?" Zhang Gang echoed. He didn't know what else to say except for this sentence. The person who came was Zhang Feng and Zhang Gang's father, Chang Hu. At this moment he didn't know what to say. He just looked at his son and then at his daughter. He nodded as he looked. He didn't cry, nor did he sigh. "So it's Uncle Hu. Huh, do you still recognize Xiaobei? Look, Xiaobei has grown up. Look at elder sister Feng and elder brother Gang, isn't it good?" Xiaobei interrupted at the right time. Even if she couldn't remember who the person opposite her was, she knew very well what to say. When Chang Hu heard the voice, he reacted. He rubbed his face with both hands and revealed what he thought was the kindest smile. He nodded and said, "I remember, Xiao Bei. You're the best child. You're indeed different. After a few years outside, you're much more respectable than the people in the village. Come closer and let me have a good look." The latter part was naturally to praise his children. He said that he wanted Xiao Bei to come closer, but he walked over himself. He touched and pinched his son. When he saw his son's eyes turn red, he slapped his son's head and said, "Boy, not bad. You look like an official." "Father." Zhang Fang and Zhang Gang shouted at the same time. They threw themselves into Chang Hu's arms and rubbed their heads against his body. "You're a joke. You're high-ranking officials. When you go home and look at your younger brothers and sisters, they're all little mud children. They're just like you when you were young. When people see you, they know that you're from a remote place. They can't compare to you." Chang Hu laughed and hugged his children. Xiao Bei immediately said, "Uncle, you're wrong. How is it remote? Compared to the people on the other side of the Straits of Malacca, our Idyll is the center. Besides, what's wrong with living in a remote place? As long as you're not biased, it's fine." Who said that Chang and is in the middle? If Luoyang is made the capital, Chang and is also remote, right? Yes, Xiao Bei is still so good. Chang Hu felt comfortable and praised Xiao Bei. He turned around and greeted Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. "Cuckoo, Xiaobao, you two have really grown up. It's a pity that Brother Zhang's future is not good." Hearing Chang Hu's words, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and smiled. Zhang Xiaobao said, "My father is still in the capital's Ministry of Works. He's really busy there and can't come over. Uncle, you can go over when you're free." "I'll go this summer. I know that your father is busy. He spends all day with your emperor, no, our emperor, and never leaves his side. It's so hard to come out." Chang Hu deeply agreed. Zhang Xiaobao swallowed his saliva. He didn't refute that the person who spent all day with Li Longji was someone from the palace and had nothing to do with his father. He nodded and asked, "Uncle, has the provincial governor been re-established in Ijo's logistics camp? It seems that he's better than before." "What does it have to do with him? After that Ngai came 2 years ago, he caused a lot of trouble. Originally, there were nearly 10,000 people in the city, but after a year, there were less than 7,000 people left. No matter how good a family is, they can't stand him eating, drinking, and playing all day. Last year, we couldn't stand it and discussed it. We all agreed that we couldn't ruin the foundation that my brother Zhang left behind, so we stopped paying him tribute in the autumn. He actually had the face to say that we weren't loyal. We talked to him about loyalty, and he agreed not to stay in the city. After he finished paying tribute to the capital before the end of the year, he kept running to Wenshan County." Chang Hu said angrily, as if he had been wronged. Zhang Xiaobao and the others silently mourned for that Ngai. Why did he run to Ijo to become the provincial governor? Did he offend someone in the imperial court? Zhang Fang raised her head from her father's arms and asked, "Father, what does his eating, drinking, and playing have to do with others?" "It has a lot to do with it. In the past, there was a provincial governor who was very obedient. He stayed in the city every day and didn't do anything. Our strongholds didn't care about him. When the time came, we handed over the things that should be handed over to him. Whether he handed it over to the imperial court or kept it himself, we didn't let your adoptive father down. Later and came. As soon as he arrived, he set up a tent outside the city and started a bonfire. He also said that he would find people to help build a 3-dimensional breeding base. The people in the city went to help. In the end, they dug trenches for an entire afternoon. At night, he started to treat people to wine and barbecue, singing and dancing. After 2 days, he didn't have enough. He sent people up the mountain to invite us to drink together. At that time, we were busy. It was spring, and we wanted more fruit in the fall. In spring, we had to prune the branches, even though they were wild fruits. After thinking about it, we gave him face, and each stronghold sent a few people down with a lot of mountain goods. We weren't used to receiving favors for nothing. Who knew that he would send people again the next day? For 3 days, we really didn't have the heart to pay attention to him. In the end, guess what he did? What did he do? Zhang Fong felt that this matter was a bit familiar. When he saw that we didn't want to go down, he brought his family up. He sent over 300 kilograms of salt and wanted to drink with me. Father, did the wine run out in the end? Then he took out the wine, Zhang Fong asked. Beside them, Xiaobei added, why does it sound similar to what father told me later? At that time, father seemed to be drinking wine with uncle. He even played a little trick. Chang Hu chuckled and freed up a hand to pinch Xiaobei's face. He said, yes, and wanted to learn from your father. When your father was with us, we really didn't have much wine. That day, your father drank a year's worth of wine. But now, how could we lack wine? He found more than 100 people who could drink. He pulled me and began to talk. He said something about being loyal. How many people in our stronghold could drink? In the end, more than 100 people drank until they vomited. He drank all the wine? Xiaobei asked. He wanted to drink all the wine in the 60 large wine cellars? Unless he became a Heisei and solved the problem with 12 jars of wine. Each jar was 50 kilograms. Our stronghold could drink to our heart's content while they were finished. My wine cellar had 9 horizontal, 9 vertical, and 980 horizontal jars. And then? He said he had good wine? Xiaobei asked again. He collapsed, and so did many of us. The next day's work was delayed. Don't you think it's infuriating? Xiaobei nodded. Yes, he wanted to replace the little affection my father left in Wingzhou. Chang Hu pinched Xiaobei's face again. We saw it. After sending them away the next day, he didn't invite them to drink. Even if he invited us, we didn't go. Your father was different from him. Your father really wanted to build Wingzhou. He wanted to get benefits for himself. Who would have thought that he wouldn't give up? He invited people to eat and drink every day in and outside the city. In less than a month, he ran out of money. He couldn't compare with your father, Brother Zhang. Brother Zhang really had the ability to treat people, so and had to treat him even if he didn't have the money. A month later, he began to negotiate with all the shops in the city. He either solicited or accepted, or put on credit or borrowed. He even went to the prefecture outside to get money. 3 out of 10 people in Wing Province City left, and those who left were all people who used to have a little bit of money. After saying that, Chang Hu made a helpless expression. The people around him also sighed. Zhang Fong pouted and said with a sullen face, Father, he's too much of a scammer. He's courting death, Xiaobei added. Father, what about now? Zhang Gang asked. He won't come back now. I said before that the strongholds banded together and didn't hand over anything. We drove him away and told him that as long as he didn't come back to make trouble, we would give him something every year. When he comes back, he won't get anything. Chang Hu sighed. Oh yes, they said that he's staying in Wenshan County. What's good about that place? Zhang Fong asked again. That place belongs to Maozhou. Wenshan County is rich. At least that Ngai won't have to worry about food and drink there. I heard that he's asking the local county magistrate for advice on local economics. He wants to learn well and use it in Wingzhou to wash away his shame. Let's not talk about him. The road below is being repaired. Come with me. The logistics camp in Wingzhou is actually made up of people from our various strongholds. When Cuckoo and Xiaobao were established, they were very famous. When Xiaobao and Cuckoo left, we took over. We can't lose our reputation. At that time, the people left, but the spirit is still there. Chang Hu said a few more words. He felt that there was no need to continue arguing about that Ngai. He pointed down. The road had already been paved. Not only were the trees on the road cut down, but they had also paved the road. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other again. Zhang Xiaobao said, Our reputation is still there. Driving 20 kilometers of road in 4 hours is enough to kill our enemies. Chapter 1181. Very good. You don't lower your head in the face of difficulties. You have the spirit of daring. You treat obstacles as stepping stones and move forward step by step, just like ants. Xiaobei's voice sounded on the newly paved road. In fact, the road was not uneven at all. They walked according to the terrain of the mountain. It was not that they pushed down a mountain in front of them. They just cut down the trees on the road and removed the thorns and bushes. As for the flowers and grass, they just needed to cover them with sand and stones. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao also praised them slightly. The cooperation ability of the logistics camp in Idyll was still very strong. It was not a small amount of work to cover 20 miles in 4 hours with manpower and animals. But it was not a big deal. They paved the road quickly because there were more people and animals. Each section was 5 meters wide and 500 meters long. There were 200 people working on each section. On average, each person was responsible for 5 meters. It was just a bit tiring to finish the work in 4 hours. Moreover, they were specially trained and were skilled workers. If it was mechanized, there would be more than 20 bulldozers in sections. The trucks transporting sand and stones behind could keep up. They could push 20 miles in half an hour. All the workers added up would not need more than 200 people. After all, the trees did not grow close to each other. Chang, who did not care about Xiao Bei. Even though Xiao Bei was also an official and many people trembled when they saw him. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came. They were the most important people to deal with. Walking with them on the road, Chang Hu introduced them excitedly. Now there are more than 6,000 people in the logistics camp in Idyll. Usually, when they are free, they gather together to eat and chat. They always have common topics. For example, how to remove a 1 foot thick and 3 feet tall black brick, how to make it easier to build a bridge or to fill a ditch that is 6 steps wide and 2 people deep. Once you think about it, you will find that it is full of tricks. Let's talk about pushing a wall. In the past, people dug at the root and pulled at the top. Later, we found that the wall fell faster when we cut a wedge from the bottom of the other side. It is also more comfortable when we push hard. Daily production can't be stopped either. Zhang Xiaobao nodded as he listened and added, "Yes, we haven't. The logistics battalion's main job is to accept outside work, such as building houses, digging cellars, repairing bridges and paving roads, destroying forests and farming fields, building shelves, filling pits and leveling ditches. Let's put it this way, we accept all the work related to logistics, and we don't bargain. We'll do it as long as we're paid, and we promise to do it well. Our only requirement is that we provide enough food." As Chang Hu spoke, he kept pointing at this person and that person. They were all capable people. When Zhang Xiaobao heard this, the first thing that came to his mind was not the training of the logistics camp's professional skills. Instead, he felt sorry for the people around him. With a large number of good laborers who did not bargain, what kind of impact could they have on the labor market? Wang Wan considered the living standards in the stronghold and asked, "Is the income on the mountain still acceptable?" "Acceptable to acceptable." All the strongholds worked together and reported how much they hunted. Then, they contacted the merchants who bought the furs and game. "We set the price, so if any stronghold dares to change the price without permission, we'll let them go." Later on, the grafted fruits were the same. For example, oranges, which were the size of a fist, foreign merchants wanted to buy them. You can ask any stronghold, and they'll give you the same price. We won't be bullied and cheated like before. Speaking of which, we have to thank Brother Zhong. Back then, it was Brother Zhong who let us know that the price of the things we sold was lowered. When Chang Hu talked about this, he seemed very happy. His beard was curling up and down. "Father, you should say Brother Yongqing. Loyalty is a name, and foster father's courtesy name is Yongqing. Why don't we just say Brother Zhang?" Chang Hu's son, Zhang Gang, reminded him. Chang Hu slapped the back of Zhang Gang's head and laughed. "That's right, Yongqing. My little brat is still the most knowledgeable. He can't be wrong to be with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo. You've become a high-ranking official. If I wasn't your father, I would have to kneel to you. Governor and is a high-ranking official, but I don't see you kneeling to him." Zhang Gang rubbed his head and said after being slapped, "What kind of official is he? Xiao Bao, do you think the people in the imperial court are stupid? They sent him to be the governor, and he actually told us that it's called following the rules of Xiao and Chao Chao. Who do you think Chao Chao can follow?" Chang Hu complained again when he mentioned governor, and Zhang Xiaobao was stunned, but then he understood. After thinking for a while, he said, "Indeed, Chao Chao can't follow Xiao He, so governor and can only follow my father's footsteps. Father, it's not Chow Chow, it's Chao Can, Zhang Gang reminded him. Chang Hu slapped the back of his son's head and laughed. Yes, Chao Can. My son is still the smart one. Zhang Gang rubbed his head and looked at Brother Xiaobao with eyes full of admiration. At first, he thought that Brother Xiaobao didn't understand, but now he understood. Brother Xiaobao was really smart. He knew that Brother Xiaobao would be slapped after correcting him. Wang Wan pursed her lips and smiled, then asked again. Uncle, are the people in the mountains eating, drinking, and wearing better clothes than before? We won't be staying for a few days this time. The main reason is to give Duo Shi time to react. If you have any difficulties, tell us. Xiao Bao and I will try our best to think of a solution. Difficulties? There really are. The children's school has been built in all the villages, and it's much better than before. However, the villages are far from each other, and it's inconvenient for the children to walk. They're afraid of being eaten by animals, so they're all placed in the city. They eat and live there, and when the family thinks about it, they go down the mountain to take a look. But there are more children, and there are fewer people teaching them. Scholars are not willing to come here. The weather is not good, and it's also remote. It's not easy to go outside. I know that the people outside despise us. Even if we have money and manage the ski resort, we can still hunt, fur, and game. The people outside see us differently after all. Take Idyll, which is located in Chengdu, as an example. An ordinary teacher can only get 700 copper coins a month. Our stronghold offers 2 strings of cash and countless other things, but no one wants to come. Last autumn, I said that I would give away a tiger pelt, and one finally came. After getting the tiger pelt, he disappeared in less than 2 months. How can a scholar say that he's unreasonable? Father, you didn't keep your word. That's right, my son is very capable. Right now, most of the people teaching the children in the city are people sent by your family to take care of things. Whenever they have time, they teach the children. There are also the waiters from the Shuyun Tavern in the city. They take shifts to rest before coming over to teach the children. Then there are the 6 people you can count with your fingers. 4 of them are old and don't even have the status of a high scholar. The other 2 are young people who came to visit last summer and didn't go back. Why don't you send them to the capital? We'd rather be farther away. We won't see each other for a year or 2. It's better than being delayed. Brother Zhong, Brother Yongqing, you can take care of them in the capital. Hey Yongqing, look at how good my son is. As soon as Chang Hu finished speaking, Zhang Gang was slapped again. This time, he really didn't make a sound. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan listened to Chang Hu's words, which were simple and full of hope, and sighed. Xiao Bei, who was also listening, couldn't take it anymore. Who would be so shameless as to run away after cheating a tiger pelt? Once the arrest warrant is sent out, the 9 of us, 10 patrol inspectors want to catch him. Does he still have the integrity of a scholar? Learning from the saints and doing dirty things, without killing to appease the anger of the people, without killing to appease my heart. Brother Xiaogang, am I right? Yes, it's just a tiger pelt. How can it be compared to human skin? Getting a pelt and losing a pelt, how lazy. Zhang Gang was also angry. My son is right, but, forget it, it's my village's fault for not being capable. San Shui County is considered remote compared to the capital. Many people will go there, and they won't run away even if we don't give them the tiger pelt. Let's go, there's a road up ahead. It was built 2 years ago to send charcoal. There are also bamboo and wooden houses next to it for people to rest. There are many wild animals in the mountains. Chang Hu shook his head and changed the topic. His son continued to rub his head. No, we have to catch him. It's not a matter of a tiger pelt. It's very simple for us to forgive him. He's just a person, and I think it's not easy. But if we let him go so easily, doesn't it mean that others can learn from him? Raise your hands to vote. Xiao Bei refused to give up and raised his hand first. Xiao Yuan, who was being stared at by him, also raised his hand. Needless to say, the other children all raised their hands. If it was in private, there might be children who disagreed. But now, in front of so many people, they had to advance and retreat together. Even if they were wrong, they could make up for it later. Not to mention catching a person, even if Xiao Bei said that he was going to kill someone, the whole family had to support him. Xiao Bei's suggestion was passed with one person absent and the other 9 voting in favor. Chang Hu and Wei Wei paused and turned to look at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, implying that they should persuade the children. There was no need to keep an eye on one person. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were indifferent. Seeing that Chang Hu kept hinting with his eyes, Zhang Xiaobao said, "Uncle, they are the patrol inspectors of the Tang Empire. Logically speaking, Cuckoo and I are not in charge of them. This time, Cuckoo and I are only in charge of their meals and education. We won't affect their administration. First, we need to solve the problem of the lack of teachers. I will write a memorial and ask His Majesty to add a rule for the imperial examinations. All those who want to participate in the imperial examinations or students who want to take the imperial examinations must teach for at least a year in a place. The more remote the place is, the more points will be added. I will first send people to support the school in Idyll. It will be fine if there are others in the future." "We are relieved that you sent people. I suddenly thought of something. Just like what you said, aren't you afraid that someone will fake it?" He obviously didn't teach the children and used other means to make the school prove that he taught them. Chang Hu was not knowledgeable, but his EQ was not bad. "What does it have to do with us? If they fake it, the patrol inspectors will be in charge. If the patrol inspectors make mistakes, the Censorate and Supreme Court will be in charge. If they make mistakes, the Tang Empire's patrol inspectors will be in charge. That is, Xiao Bei and the others. If Xiao Bei makes a mistake, it will be my and Cuckoo's turn to say," Xiao Bao explained. Chang Hu realized that he was back to square one and was not in the mood to continue arguing. He nodded vigorously and hoped that the teachers would be in place soon. Xiao Bei solved one problem and said, "There is also the provincial governor with the surname An. Even if Idyll is remote, the provincial governor is still a 4th-rank official. How can we mess around? Even if we don't expect him to develop, he shouldn't be corrupt. A 4th-rank official can participate in the Imperial Court Assembly in the capital. When I meet him, I will ask him what he thinks." Speak of the devil. As soon as Xiao Bei finished speaking, there was a call from the front. I am late. Let me go. I am the provincial governor of Idyll." Chapter 1182. My son, the person shouting in front is surnamed En. Chang, who had not seen the person, but he was certain just by hearing the voice. "Let him come over. Let's take a look." Zhang Gang was already standing 5 steps away from his father. He ordered the people around him and moved 2 steps forward. He was probably afraid of being beaten again. Not long after, a person quickly walked over. He was wearing a 4th-rank official's robe and an official's hat. There was a silver fish pouch on his waist. He walked with vigor and vigor. When the little guys saw the person, they were stunned. He was very different from what they had imagined. They had thought that he would be fat, yellow, and overindulgent. They did not expect that this person had a face full of righteousness and a well-proportioned body. The first impression he gave was that he was shrewd and capable. He did not seem to match what Chang Hu had said earlier. It was very contradictory. What was going on? The person stopped in front of them and glanced at the people in front of him. He solemnly clasped his hands and bowed. "This official greets the Bohai provincial governor and the Tang patrol inspector. I have been busy with trivial matters recently and am late to welcome you. I hope you can forgive me." As his voice fell, he smiled warmly at Chang Hu. "Brother Chang, are you still in good health?" Chang Hu curled his lips and half-heartedly returned the greeting. "It's still the same. No one has come to torment our stronghold. We are doing well. We have lost weight." "Brother Chang is right. I have disturbed you a few days ago. Please forgive me." "Lost weight? Others have said so as well. Losing weight makes one stronger. Accompanying the people in the county in the spring plowing and working all day long, they have succeeded in losing weight. Pigs are slaughtered when they are fat. Officials who are fat also do not benefit." Provincial governor and was still smiling warmly. Chang Hu carefully looked at the other party and nodded. Indeed, no wonder you dare to come. You are not fat, otherwise you will really be slaughtered. My children have returned today and you want to find 100 people to drink in the stronghold? I wouldn't dare. I've been muddle-headed during those days, and I've harmed many people. My heart is filled with guilt, and I don't have the face to bring up the matter of drinking again. I've decided to change and do things honestly in the future. Please believe me this time. The provincial governor surnamed and said solemnly with an apologetic expression. Not only were Xiaobei and the others confused, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also confused. Chang, who was even more confused. He looked around at the people in the strongholds in Idyll Mountain and saw that they were all at a loss. They all wondered what had happened to Governor Tang. Had he been possessed by a ghost? Scratching the back of his neck, Chang who took a step forward and circled around Governor. After a while, he stood in front of the other party and stared straight into the other party's eyes. He could only see the sincerity and clarity in the other party's eyes. Governor, you just said that you are busy with the spring plowing in a county. Which county are you in? Chang, who really didn't want to believe that the person in front of him was the same governor and who couldn't accomplish anything but spoiled everything. In Wenshan County. This year, the chives in Wenshan County will be harvested 1 month later than in other places. We plan to use a new technology before the second harvest to prevent the chives from sprouting too early. We plan to take advantage of the time difference. At the same time, we will introduce a large number of special dishes to increase the local income. I am helping out in the local area and have a good chat with the Deputy County Magistrate, Gong Sun Moyu. Governor N still looked serious, which made people feel that he was an upright and kind official who was willing to work for the people wholeheartedly. Chang, who felt helpless and tried to dissuade him. My governor, you'd better stay in Wenshan County. Everything is fine in Idyll. We will definitely give you the full rent and tribute. We are really scared and can't afford to suffer. Please let us go. One chance, just one chance. Don't occupy too many vegetable fields. I will try this year. If it doesn't work, I will apply for a transfer next year. With a pleading look in his eyes, Yi cupped his hands and bowed again, scaring Chang Hu into retreating. Nearby, Xiaobei discussed with a few others and asked, "What are you going to plant in the vegetable fields? Speaking of which, I should give you a chance. It is easy to kill one, but difficult to save one. Killing one eliminates evil, but saving one adds good. In between good is two. Give me a reason." Hearing Xiaobei's words, Yi was scared and excited. If it were someone else who condemned him, it would be difficult for them to kill him. However, it was easy for a group of children to kill him. The punishment of whipping was not a problem at all, but it was 5 times worse. They could even wipe out the whole family. Although His Majesty gave the officials such a great power to not expect that they would not be killed if they deliberately made mistakes, and to tell them that they should think twice before making a mistake. There was also a group of people who could disregard the national law and take their lives at any time. However, the officials who were arrested felt wronged. Forcing himself to calm down, Yi lowered his head and answered, "I want to plant wild vegetables in the inferior vegetable fields in the province. There are many trees in the mountains. When the weather is cold, they can be burned to drive away the cold. When frost comes, they can be smoked to keep the wild vegetables growing. In the cold winter, the skiers will have a delicious meal. All the money will be used to compensate for my past crimes. Is that okay?" After speaking, Yi did not dare to look at Xiaobei and the others. He was afraid that they would misunderstand his purpose or not believe what he said. The most important thing now was not to quibble, but to admit his guilt. "Is this technique okay?" Xiaobei asked after discussing with the others. "Then why not plant other vegetables?" Xiaobei asked again. "Because other vegetables are not good. We have to find a vegetable to plant, so we can only plant chives. The prefectural city of Idyll has the conditions to use greenhouses, but Idyll has been corrupted by me and no longer has the ability to do so. Chives have already been planted in Wenshan County." Yi finished and sighed. "Okay, I agree. Let's try it. Uncle, what do you think?" Xiaobei agreed and turned to ask Chang Hu for his opinion. Chang, who did not care what an E did as long as he did not cause trouble for the stockade. He nodded and agreed. An E breathed a sigh of relief again. Even if he did not do well, he did not have to worry about being killed. Everyone walked together. An E fell behind slightly and followed step by step. He did not dare to overtake the front, nor did he dare to run too far away. At the same time, he was worried that he would not be able to answer if asked about the situation in the prefecture. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not intend to ask an E about the situation in the prefecture. The local people would naturally give them detailed data. They would have to wait for governor and to report to them. After passing through the temporarily built road, the road ahead was connected to the main road. It was wide enough for 2 carriages to pass side by side. The road was flat and could be considered a main road in this place. It could not be compared to Chang'an, nor could it be compared to Sanshui County. Shu Road was difficult to travel on. The current era was better than the era they came from. At that time, the railway was well built, but there were always cars that overturned on the road. The main reason was that the people did not have the money to build it themselves. The merchants could not do such a good thing, and the government was not willing to increase the investment. It was not proportional to the output. Unlike Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, several years ago, they began to coax and cheat the local merchants to support them. They spoke well, but in the end, the merchants lost money. If it had been someone else who cheated them like this, the merchants would have been angry. They held back for the sake of Zhang Xiaobao. Fortunately, they gave compensation later. The new technology was given priority and arranged to go to Japan to make money and torment the Japanese. The 2 of them could make the investment proportional to the output. Because it was used to fight and then plunder various resources and slaves, the slaves could contribute enough and give their descendants the identity of a citizen of the Great Tang. It was the same as some things in the development of North America. The group walked all the way. After noon, there were more and more people. They found an open place in the village to set up a pot and cook. The villagers came out one after another to give them things. No matter what, they did not want money. Zhang Xiaobao had to use other things he had brought to exchange. Both sides were happy. They raised their cups and drank. They were happy and harmonious, laughing and talking without end. No one paid attention to an E. Provincial governor and looked on enviously from the side, imagining that he would govern the provincial capital well. When he left, he would take the Wanmin umbrella with the people's handprints. When he came here again someday, the people would be willing to give him all the food in their homes. Only then would his life not be in vain. After the meal, the villagers could not bear to see them off. They followed them for 5 li and still did not return. They persuaded them to stop and then sent them off with tears in their eyes. When they disappeared at the end of the road, they returned. The group continued on and reached the fork in the road leading to the provincial capital of Wing Province. That year, when they came, Xiaobei and the others were in the house. Just as Bigu and the other old men said, they could see whether Zhang Xiaobao and the Wang family had new technology. They just had to keep an eye on the little guy's house. Brother, sister, we suddenly thought of something. We don't know if we should say it. Xiaobei suddenly said to his brother and sister when they reached the fork in the road. You shouldn't say it. Zhang Xiaobao answered very straightforwardly. Xiaobei was stunned. He chuckled and said, we want to go to Wenshan County first to see that deputy county magistrate with the surname too. If he is really capable, it would be a pity to be a deputy county magistrate. Anyway, we are going to rest in Wing Province. We can come back from Wenshan County later. You who is it? Right, provincial governor, and please come with us. I am willing to go with you, but in the province? An E meant that he wanted to go back to the provincial capital of Wing Province. He wanted to take this opportunity to ask Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to help him put in a good word with the local people. He had really harmed the local people. If he did not change his image, he was afraid that no one would cooperate with him to grow mountain vegetables. Xiaobei stared at him and said, the government does not need you. Your most important task now is to come with us. Otherwise, Yes, I will go with you. And he did not dare to say anything else. Thus, they separated. Xiaobei and the rest led their guards and servants towards Wen Mountain. and Yi was secretly thankful that he had helped out in Wenshan County for a period of time, otherwise he probably wouldn't have been able to make it here alive. From here to Wen Mountain, it was a distance of several dozen li. The group continued to climb over the mountains. After midnight, they finally arrived at the place at the middle of the moon. Xiaobei and the group of children had long been carried on poles and covered with blankets to sleep. They did not eat dinner. They were woken up when they arrived at the place, intending to eat until the night. The others in the group were also tired. They did not want to disturb others in the county. They stopped at the outskirts and set up their tents. When the big pot of food was ready, a portion of them hurriedly ate and then lay down to sleep. A portion of them were half full and closed their eyes. The other portion only drank hot soup and then continued their duties. When Xiaobei and the other 9 people were woken up, a large bowl of stew was placed in front of each of them. There were also a few small salted vegetables and 2 cold steamed buns. We're here? It's really uncomfortable to sleep on the road. It looks like it's going to be a sunny day tomorrow. There's too much dew. It's humid. Let's eat. It smells so good. You left us so much lean meat. Thank you. Xiaobei said happily as he broke off a steamed bun and soaked it in the stew. The other children also worked hard to eat. The steamed bun is cold. And Yi had eaten as well. He was afraid that he did not have the qualifications to eat with Xiaobei and the others. However, he found that Xiaobei and the others were eating the same as everyone else, so he reminded them. I know. I don't see us soaking it in the soup. We should make a portion especially for the patrol inspectors. You should be the one to do it. Who isn't tired at this time? Even Uncle Emperor has to eat the big pot of food in front of us. What? Provincial governor is used to eating delicacies. Is it hard to swallow cold steamed buns and stew? Should I have someone cook a few delicious dishes for you? That way, you can evaluate the culinary skills of my chef between the clouds and the water. Xiaobei asked with a concerned expression. The provincial governor shook his head repeatedly. I don't dare. Lend me 100 guts. It's delicious. I have never eaten such delicious stew in my life. He was frightened. Didn't he hear that Uncle Emperor also wanted to eat? Besides, the stew was really good. Although it looked simple, the taste was definitely not bad. Xiaobei ate a steamed bun. When he stopped to rest, he asked an Yi, who was waiting there and did not dare to rest. Tell me about that Deputy County Magistrate Gongsun or something. While we are at it, we can talk about the more powerful county magistrate. Good. Speaking of Deputy County Magistrate Gongsun, he is really extraordinary. As a Deputy County Magistrate, he suppressed the county magistrate and the registrar. He has a lot of power in Wenshan County. He can decide everything in Wenshan County with just one word. The bailiffs and the people all listen to him. When he is on the road, he must walk at the front. When he is in the hall, he must be in the middle. He has been in office for a year and a half. Under the circumstances of tax reduction and tax exemption, the county's revenue has increased by more than 10 times. The people have benefited even more. There are local nursery rhymes as proof. It says, "How much do you know about Wenshan County? It is difficult for a young man to marry outside. The produce of the land cannot be sent. The salt and cloth cannot be bought. Since Gongsun came here, the blue sky is 3 feet high and the wind is beautiful. Selling to buy to gather money, he is not MOU, but due." And Yi said with a face full of worship. So crazy? Xiaobei was surprised. If he is a little more powerful, he will be able to catch up with my brother and sister. Chapter 1183. Xiaobei, who was full, waited for the child to continue sleeping. He wanted to have enough energy to face Gongsun Moyu and see why he was so capable. And Yi was also exhausted. He shivered from the cold wind outside. He found a tent and laid down, thinking about things. He secretly rejoiced that he had worked hard recently and trained his body. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to hold on. The result would be the same whether he died of exhaustion from following the team or couldn't keep up halfway. The next day, when the sun rose, it was indeed a sunny day. All kinds of birds chirped in the mountains, looking for insects that woke up early and didn't sleep in. The sun shone down from the top of the mountain, reflecting the dewdrops on the leaves into a dazzling scene. A few clouds flew into the distance. The scenery was really good. Xiao Bei helped the children wash up. Looking at the beautiful scenery, he frowned slightly, clearly unhappy. And Yi, who had only slept for half the night, had dark circles under his eyes. When they were waiting for breakfast, he went to the group of inspectors and took a deep breath. He slowly exhaled and praised, "Beautiful, really beautiful. The mountains are green, the water is clear, the grass is green, the flowers are red, the clouds are blue, and the birds are singing in the wind. What do you think?" Nothing. Xiao Yuan took out his binoculars and looked back and forth. He came in a hurry last night and couldn't see clearly in the dark. Now that he saw the scenery, he was worried. "Is it not good?" And he put away the smile on his face and asked cautiously. Xiao Yuan put down his binoculars and said, "What we want to see is smoke rising in spirals, bustling, endless traffic, horses neighing, market noises, dogs barking and chickens crowing. For example, Sanshui County. Before entering the county, you can feel the liveliness. No matter where you go, you won't feel cold. You'll always be in a warm and comfortable environment. Of course, there's nothing you can do about the loneliness in your heart." How many places dare to compare with Sanshui County? Wenshan County is remote, and without the help of the Zhang family and Wang family, it's already not bad. If we go further, we'll see the lively scene in the county. And Yi also frowned, regretting what he just said. It was wrong to have different administrative views. Xiao Yuan nodded and didn't say anything else. After breakfast was served, they hurriedly ate and the group continued on their journey towards Wenshan County. After traveling for more than an hour, they finally saw people. There were several dozen people scattered around the terraced fields on the mountain. When they saw the large group of people, they stopped what they were doing and straightened their backs to watch the excitement. When they saw a flag with the pattern of rice seedlings rise up, they were very happy. They stepped on the furrows and gathered on the road in front of the team. Each and every one of them had an excited expression on their faces. "You're always so enthusiastic. It's so embarrassing. You're holding up my work." Xiao Bei swung his arms and walked to the front with a grin. He said to the locals, "You're welcome. Have you had breakfast? I brought some steamed buns. Try them all." Someone from the team immediately brought the buns over. Actually, they didn't bring them on purpose. They hadn't eaten them in the morning. The leftovers were placed in a box covered with a quilt. They were still warm even now. The locals were not polite either. They surrounded Xiao Bei and the others and happily talked about all kinds of things. They picked up the big meat buns and ate them quickly. They had indeed not eaten breakfast. If they had eaten in the morning, they would be hungry at noon. They would eat at noon. Would they eat at night? Normally, they ate 2 meals a day. While eating, they didn't stay idle. They constantly asked the children if they were tired from the journey. Topics like whether they were cold or not seemed very natural. It didn't seem at all like they were meeting for the first time. And Yi felt a sour feeling in his heart. He was keenly aware of the reason for this situation. The locals were constantly thinking about the Zhang family and the Wang family. They were always fascinated by them, so even if they were meeting for the first time, they didn't feel the slightest bit of unfamiliarity. Of course, the officials were also thinking about Xiao Bei and the others, but they were thinking about different things. They were more afraid than friendly. In order to get along well with the locals, Xiao Bei, who had clearly eaten his fill, still took a steamed bun and bit into it. Then he asked the locals what they were doing in the fields, whether they were doing well, and what problems they needed his help with. The locals didn't understand how to consider problems from the perspective of the country's general situation. They only thought about the matters before their eyes. Some asked for his help in building 2 bridges over the Wenshui River. Others said that they had heard of something called a water pump and that they should get a few. In the summer, the terraced fields in the mountains were short of water so that they could pump the water up. Others asked for thermometers. This year, their families planned to raise more ducks and adopt the method of artificial incubation. The only matter that directly involved national politics was to have County Magistrate Gong Sun Emo take over as County Magistrate. The original County Magistrate was to be demoted and stay in the way. Xiao Yuan followed at the side, taking out a small notebook and pencil and earnestly taking notes. Occasionally, he would stop to ask where the best place to build the bridge was, or talk about what one should pay attention to when raising ducks. When the locals saw Xiao Yuan writing, they felt even more assured and ate their steamed buns even faster. Among the crowd, Provincial Governor N.E. began to observe a moment of silence for the local county magistrate. Although the appointment and removal of officials here were not like in Sanshui County, where they were supervised by the common people, as long as they didn't do a good job and didn't receive any support from the public budget, they would immediately be removed. But since Xiao Bei and the others had come and heard what the common people said, when the time came for them to be questioned, one bad answer was certain to be removed. After a while, everyone was full. Xiao Bei also finished off the steamed buns in his hands and said to the crowd, "Okay, we've noted everything down. We'll arrange it later. Everyone can continue working. We'll also continue on to the county. See you later." The locals' stomachs were much more comfortable, and their moods were also much better. After greeting each other and watching the procession pass, they returned to the fields and continued working. Xiao Bei's group continued to walk forward. When they saw the house up ahead, a large group of people came out to welcome them. There were blue-clothed yamen runners, and there were also people wearing official robes. Presumably, someone had come back to the county to report. As expected, while they were waiting for the people in front of them to come over, a local came over and explained to Xiao Bei in embarrassment. He said that he had come back to report to Gongsun MOU and didn't plan on letting anyone else know. Who would have thought that Gongsun MOU would tell someone else? It's fine. We're not here to visit incognito. The situation in the county is for all to see. Poor is poor, rich is rich. I've never asked for Wenshan County to be the same as Sanshui County. Help introduce the main officials. If you have time later, we'll invite you to accompany us on a tour of the county. You're a local and are familiar with the county. As Xiao Bei spoke, he lowered his head and looked at his clothes. After thinking for a while, he decided not to change into his official robes. The person who came over to speak naturally wouldn't say that he didn't have time and wouldn't accompany them on a tour. He followed the group of children and began to introduce them when the yamen people came closer. This is the county deputy, Lord Gongsun MOU. The first person to be introduced was the county deputy. The expressions of the two people beside Gongsun MOU clearly darkened. Normally they were always suppressed. Now that a big shot had come, they, Gongsun MOU, knew to follow behind when they went out of the county to welcome them. They didn't expect that they would introduce him first. As the two of them cursed in their hearts, they glanced to the side and saw that everyone had a very normal expression. Their mood worsened. This official greets the patrol envoy. When we heard that the patrol envoy had arrived, the county magistrate was very happy and quickly gathered us to welcome you. With the support of the county magistrate, the lives of the county people this year were much better. This is Wang Chang, County Magistrate Wang. Seeing that he was introduced first, Gongsun MOU quickly stepped forward and introduced the county magistrate. Hearing Gongsun MOU's words, County Magistrate Wang Chang's mood improved a little. When he saw Xiao Bei looking over, he also stepped forward and bowed with his hands folded. He said, "This official didn't know that the Lord was here and was late to welcome you. I deserve to die 10,000 deaths." So you're saying that you've confessed? You've confessed to a capital crime, right? You don't have to die 10,000 deaths. You can choose your own way of dying. Hurry up. Xiao Bei nodded to Wang Chang and said. Wang Chang was stunned. The surrounding people were also stunned. My original province is called Wenshan County, and the county is called Wenshan County. The county is called the governor's office. I asked you to talk about Wenshan County. Why are you talking about Maozhou? You want to be the provincial governor? If you want to know about the prefecture, you can ask Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan has already memorized it. We want to know about the current county's population, geography, production, economy, humanities, education, medical care, taxes, and policies. Cold sweat flowed down Wang Chang's forehead. Yes, I know my mistake. There are about 400 households in this county, and the population is estimated to be about 2,500 people. There are mountains, snow on the mountains, and sea. Oh, I remember, Longquan Mountain and Min Mountain are also under the jurisdiction of the county, right? Speaking of this, Wang Chang looked at Gong Sun Moyu. Seeing him nod, he continued, production refers to the tribute, right? There is gold, cinnabar, and medicinal herbs. Yes, cinnabar is also a medicinal herb, yes. Gold is also a medicinal herb. The entire prefecture's tribute is medicinal herbs. Xiao Yuan couldn't help but speak. Yes, sir is right. As for the economy, the word economy is so familiar. I seem to have heard of it before. It's not about taxes, right? The economy is quite good. Our county's economy has always been good under the care of the imperial court. What does humanities mean? It's also very good. Education, we have a school. The school is big and we can also have houses. Medical care, there are 2 doctors sent by the medical school. What are their names? Anyway, their medical skills are very good. In terms of taxes, they were exempted by County Magistrate Gong Sun and reduced by half. Otherwise, our county magistrate would be very rich now. Gong Sun Moyu, do you admit it? Wang Chang was angry when he talked about taxes. Although the county's income was many times more than before, if they didn't exempt taxes and didn't reduce taxes, wouldn't it be even more? Gong Sun Moyu didn't deny it and nodded in agreement. After Wang Chang finished complaining, he thought that Xiao Bei and the rest would teach Gong Sun Moyu a lesson. However, he found that Gong Sun Moyu was indifferent, so he could only continue, policy. We plan to make the people rich and increase the county's income. We don't want the imperial court to worry, and we want others to praise us. What do you think? Chapter 1184. After finishing his report, Wang Chang nervously stared at Xiao Bei, waiting for his punishment. He seemed to have realized that his answer was not very good. Xiao Bei also stared at Wang Chang, his eyes wide open and his mouth agape in shock. After a while, he raised his hand and pointed at Wang Chang. You've worked hard. It's not hard. Everything is for the great Tang. This Wenshan County, under the care of His Majesty, the attention of the officials of the imperial court, and the concern of the provincial governor, combined with the local situation, and with the spirit of not fearing hardship, fatigue, or difficulty, we organized people to go deep into the mountains, forests, fields, and lakes. We had face-to-face contact with the common people and had heart-to-heart exchanges. We were anxious for the common people's needs and thoughts, and we adopted a series of effective measures to strengthen and enrich the common people. After 2 years of hard work and development, we have obtained gratifying results. At the same time, we have also discovered our own shortcomings. Through discussion and learning, we are gradually improving. I believe that it won't be long before a completely new Wenshan County will appear before the eyes of the Great Tang. This county will also stand tall among the Great Tang's strongest counties. Wang Chang's words were much more fluent than when he had first reported, coming out of his mouth. Xiao Bei's eyes were even wider than before, and his breathing became hurried. He took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. His expression returned to normal, and he smiled. Very good. To tell the truth, before we came, we were still worried that our Wenshan County's development would not be good. But seeing you as the county magistrate, we are relieved. I have heard, seen, and truly understood. Under the leadership of County Magistrate Wang, Wenshan County has united together and done many things for the common people. This shows that Wenshan County's Yamen team is a team with fighting strength, a team with courage and wisdom, a team that can be brought out at any time to win a battle. In recent years, our Great Tang's economic situation has been very good. But speaking of which, there are specific counties that should be commended. Wenshan County has done very well in this regard, walking in front of the other counties. Accustomed to exploration, bold development, and careful verification, it has played the role of a leader. And in light of the county's actual situation, it has found a feasible and reliable path of development. This path is positive, it is upward, and it is paved with enthusiasm for the people. After speaking, Xiao Bei nodded at Wang Chang with a smile. County Magistrate Wang was dumbfounded. He knew that he did not speak well at the beginning, so he planned to use conventional words to fool him. He thought that bullying a child would not be a problem. When Little Bei was confused, he would have passed the test. Who would have thought that Xiao Bei would actually say the same thing? He seemed to be even better than him. Trouble, big trouble. This feeling was very familiar. It was as if Shangguan Mingming was very angry, but he still smiled at you. Then, what awaited you would definitely be ruthless. Otherwise, he would scold you. The reason why he didn't scold you was because you were done for. Just like being beheaded, your last meal will be prepared for you. If you're about to die, no one will argue with you. Gong Sun Moyu lowered his head and did not say a word. The registrar closed his eyes. The county official looked at the county magistrate with pity. Everyone knew what was going on. But the common people around did not know that after hearing County Magistrate Wang Chang's shameless words, not only did Xiao Bei not teach him a lesson, he even praised him. Everyone was so anxious that their faces turned red. Just as one person was about to stand out and expose Wang Chang mercilessly, Xiao Bei put away his bright smile and looked at Gong Sun Moyu. He said, "Deputy County Magistrate Gong Sun, add a few words." Gong Sun Moyu stepped forward and took a deep breath to calm himself down. His eyes looked away and he spoke as if he was reminiscing. This county's Wenshan is under the jurisdiction of Maozhou government. Last December, the final inspection showed that the area was 74,522 mu, including forests, fields, and lakes. There were 479 registered residents. There were also 4 single elderly people and 15 orphans who were not registered as registered residents. They were temporarily raised in the county. Yes. We raised the elderly and children that no one wanted, Wang Chang continued. County Magistrate Wang, please wait and listen to Deputy County Magistrate Gong Sun. Xiao Yuan raised his hand to Wang Chang. Gong Sun Moyu didn't show any dissatisfaction and continued. According to the census, there are 3,334 people in this county at the beginning of this month. There are also 95 pregnant women, of which 3 are twins. The birth month is delayed by 3 to 7 months. The rest are within 3 months of pregnancy and we haven't found out yet. At the end of last year, this county's financial income was 6,462 strings of coins and 103 coins. The total income from the rent of crops was 4,200 don and 6 dots, of which 720 don of barley, 2,900 don and 2 dots of millet, and 580 don and 4 dots of wheat. Because all miscellaneous taxes were exempted, the income from miscellaneous taxes was 0. Since the end of last year's frost, considering that this county has Longquan Mountain and Min Mountain as well as lakes, there is not much suitable land for farming. In addition, it takes a long time to destroy forests and farmland, and the cost is too high. Therefore, this county's main agricultural income is not much and we mainly plant herbs. Combined with the natural geographical environment, the 22 villages mainly raised ducks in the early stage of laying eggs in the lakes. Due to the rich local mineral resources, we artificially made century eggs in exchange for income. The pilot villages, Erlong Village, Baihu Village, and Fenglai Village, raised goats and sheep. It is estimated that they will enter the harvest season in July this year. How many ducks? How many sheep and goats? Xiao Hai suddenly interrupted. Hearing this question, Wang Chang snickered. That was a good question. Who asked you to be so arrogant? I didn't even manage to answer those questions, and you dared to ask in such detail. Tell me. Usually, I can't beat you, but now, someone who can teach you a lesson is here. The people who came over were angry. Who asked this question? Why did he have to make things difficult for our good Deputy County Magistrate Gong Sun? It was that County Magistrate Wang Chang who deserved to die. Gong Sun Moyu's face was still calm. He took a deep breath, nodded and replied, by the 6th of April, the number of ducks raised in this county is 11,621. There are 591 male ducks, 109 female ducks, and 1021 ducklings. From the 6th of March to the 6th of April, 120,499 eggs were laid. 1,100 goats, 950 sheep, 50 male goats, 1,050 female goats, 910 female sheep, and 40 rams. In addition, there are 131 female goats with their young, and 44 sheep. In another 1 or 2 months, the children in the school will be able to drink goat milk. How do you know? Xiao Hai asked again. That's because from the 6th of March to the 6th of April, all the duck eggs, except for the spoiled ones, were made into century eggs. I was in charge of selling them. Every duck egg was the hard work of the people, so I didn't dare to be careless. How can I forget the people's hopes? Gong Sun Moyu's reply was full of righteousness and conviction. Good Deputy County Magistrate, our good Deputy County Magistrate. A person shouted loudly and the other people followed suit. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. Under Xiao Bei's lead, Xiao Bei and the others started clapping. The rhythm was not fast, but each clap was shocking. The people followed suit and clapped for a long time before slowly stopping. Xiao Bei wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and nodded vigorously. Gong Sun Moyu, you are good. We can rest assured that we will leave Wenshan County to you. There is no need to answer other questions here. Wait until we enter the Yamen. I believe you will not be wrong. Let me ask you another question. We are very curious now. As a deputy county magistrate, you are able to do so much in the county. Which family do you come from? Or which famous place do you come from? We cannot believe that a person as young as you comes from an ordinary family. It is not that we look down on ordinary people, but it is too hard for us to accept. If you really come from an ordinary family, please tell us who your father and mother are. We want to thank them properly. Not only were Xiao Bei and the others curious, but the people were also puzzled. Where did their deputy county magistrate come from? Even the gloomier Wang Chong was waiting for Gong Sun Moyu's answer. He also could not understand. How could a subordinate who had only been here for 2 months be able to suppress him and the registrar to the point that they could not do anything? How was this person's family? Hearing Xiao Bei's question, Gong Sun Moyu's Weiwei was stunned. He sighed softly and reached into his chest. He slowly took it out and lowered his head to solemnly wear it on his left chest. When he raised his head again, his entire temperament had changed. He was no longer as humble and gloomy as before. There was a sharpness in his eyes, and his movements were steady. He had combined the two contradictory states together. There was a confident smile at the corner of his mouth. He said in a low voice but full of energy, I come from an ordinary family, but I am 16th in the entrance exam in the 15th year of Kaiyuan. I graduated from Jianjia Academy. Jianjia Academy's 9th World Lifelong Student, Gong Sun Moyu, greets the main family's young master and young lady. Jianjia? It's actually Jianjia. No wonder. The moment Gong Sun Moyu's words left his mouth, it caused an uproar among the crowd. The cartoon symbol on his chest with a reed pattern was also stared at by the crowd, and the people standing behind him quickly squeezed forward. Wang Chong only glanced at it and then stopped looking at the reed. He sighed and then muttered, no wonder you can't beat him. You're actually from Jianjia. You've graduated from Jianjia, so why did you come to the remote Wenshan County to bully us? You're originally an official from the capital, and the same rank is worthless in other places. You must have nothing better to do. Right now, no one cared about Wang Chong. Everyone was looking at Gong Sun Moyu, especially the eyes of the commoners. They were filled with happiness. Jianjia, the imperial court actually sent someone who graduated from Jianjia to this county. No wonder he was so powerful. He used 1.5 years to increase his income by around 10 times. He graduated from Jianjia Academy. They couldn't compare. Normal people couldn't compare. Xiao Bei and the others were also stunned. After a while, Xiao Bei reacted. His face darkened. He angrily questioned Gong Sun Moyu. You have the nerve to say you're from Jianjia. Look at yourself. What have you done? 1.5 years. This is 1.5 years. You've only done this? I feel ashamed for you. It seems that without anyone watching, the academy is getting worse and worse. They dare to let anyone out. You used 1.5 years to build Wenshan County to this state. Who let you graduate? Why did it become so loose? You can graduate just because you're a person? Gong Sun Moyu's forehead was covered with sweat and his face turned pale. The commoners were even more confused. Wang Chang's face turned redder. How embarrassing. Look, he was still praising him. Now that his identity was revealed, he was scolded. Damn, wasn't it enough to achieve this as a deputy district magistrate in 1.5 years? Just because he was from Jianjia. Chapter 1185. Hearing Xiaobei's scolding, Gong Sun Moyu pressed his chin against his chest. He stared at his shoes and didn't dare to move at all. Tell me yourself, how much time did you waste? Look at your uncles and brothers and sisters. Look at what they are wearing. When we came here, we couldn't see the smoke with our binoculars. They didn't eat breakfast. Look at the road under your feet. I'm so tired from walking here. As a county deputy, you spent 1.5 years and still couldn't help the people of Zhong County get out of this situation. Are you worthy of their trust? Are you worthy of the people who sent you off by the Luoshui River? How dare you wear the Jinjia symbol on your chest? The more Xiaobei spoke, the angrier she got. She pointed at the ground and then pointed at the faces of the people around them. Gong Sun Moyu looked back and forth with Xiaobei's words. He nodded fiercely. I didn't do well. I was too selfish. I let the people down. I deserve to die. Wait a minute, I don't understand. When Gong Sun Moyu admitted his guilt, the old man who had been standing beside them for a while spoke. At the same time, the old man took 2 steps forward and reached out to touch Xiaobei's head. He said, Girl, where are Xiaobao and Cuckoo? Oh, brother and sister went to Idyll Prefecture. We heard from Idyll Provincial Governor and that there is a very powerful official in Wenshan County, so we came here. Xiaobei raised her head and said. The old man nodded. Xiaobao and Huan are indeed busy. I heard that they are here to fight a war. Lass, County Deputy County Magistrate Gong Sun is actually doing very well. All of you also said that he is very good. Why are you scolding him when you are here? The days in the county are getting better and better. Xiaobei shook her head and said, Uncle, it's not like that. You don't know. How can I not know? It's not easy for Gong Sun County Deputy. When he first came here, there were always people who made trouble for him. He spent 2 months to suppress the people who took the position but didn't do anything. It took him another year to make the lives of the people in the county better. The old man continued to plead for Gong Sun Moyu. Xiaobei continued to shake his head. Uncle, you really don't know. Jianjia's academy is different from other places. Other academies teach students all kinds of books, and it's not easy to enter. It was very easy for Jianjia to enter the school. Anyone could come, regardless of whether they were from an aristocratic family or from a poor family. However, it was difficult for them to graduate. The knowledge in the books was only the foundation. After graduation, they had to pass the administrative exam. Among them, it involved the local economic construction, as well as the game under different political environments. For example, the situation that Gong Sun Moyu encountered was very normal. It was very easy for a county deputy to suppress the registrar and county magistrate in the academy. A county magistrate like Wang Chang isn't worth mentioning at all. You heard him answer the question just now. It's not that I'm looking down on him, but any random person from Jinjia Academy who can't graduate can deal with him like a child's play. An uproar broke out in the surroundings again. Everyone looked at Wang Chang with different gazes. Wang Chang's face was so red that it was about to bleed. Yes, he didn't beat Gong Sun Moyu, but he shouldn't say it in front of so many people. He was a county magistrate after all. Couldn't he give him some face? It was just a matter of nodding his head to kill someone. Was it necessary to slap his face in front of him? The old man who stood out looked at the sky and pondered for a while. He said, I understand. Jinjia Academy is very powerful. Gong Sun is already very powerful. Anyway, he's just a county deputy. It's not easy for him to make many decisions. Uncle, let me tell you this. Not to mention that he's just a county deputy, he's just an ordinary official. As long as he's from Jinjia, he has to complete his political ideas in various struggles with his superiors, colleagues, and subordinates. To put it simply, when he first arrived, there were a total of 100 people, including him. 99 people did not like him and bullied him. He had to fight against the 99 people while making the local people rich. If he did not have this ability, he could forget about graduating. No matter what methods he used, he had to fulfill his political demands. Otherwise, he would not be able to graduate. There are many people waiting to graduate in the academy. They're all smart people. They're definitely not ordinary people. That's why we're not satisfied. Xiaobei revealed the background of the academy. Hearing this, the county magistrate Wang Chang blushed with shame. It was so insidious to talk about seizing and cheating. Gongsun Moyu quickly echoed, "Yes, yes. My opponents before graduation are other people in the academy. They're also waiting to graduate. Some of them haven't graduated for 10 years. It's very difficult to suppress them and get things done at the same time. Whether they're willing or not, it's very difficult to get their approval. Compared to them, County Magistrate Wang Chang and Wang Chang are really like children. Our graduation exam is to find a real county and then send people to discuss with the county officials. We're their staff. They'll do whatever we say." At that time, I chose Qingxian, Hunan Province's Izhou Province. At that time, I was only at Songqiao. At that time, that Songqiao was very obedient. He did whatever I said. Now, he has become a county magistrate. You can go to Qingxian now and you will know. Let's put it this way. Until the end, when I finished the basic construction of the county as a granary, I never stopped fighting. Back then, when those people fought with me, they didn't dare to sacrifice the lives of their people, but they used almost all of their methods. Of course, they didn't dare to kidnap the interests of the people. Otherwise, the main family, that is, the Zhang family and Wang family of Sanshui, would deal with him. Not to mention letting him graduate, they might even kill him directly. Even if he's a relative of the emperor, it's useless. Gongsun Moyu's words deeply agitated County Magistrate Wang again. He squatted on the ground and pulled his hair with both hands. "Do you fucking look down on me so much? Didn't I cooperate with you very much? You asked me to stamp, I stamped. You asked me to issue an announcement, I issued an announcement. What else do you want?" The local people once again looked at the reed symbol on Gongsun Moyu's left chest. At the same time, they understood how important this symbol was. Jian Jia really lived up to her reputation. She actually had to play like this to graduate. It was scary just hearing about it. The old man who asked the question also looked at Gongsun Moyu from head to toe. Then he nodded and said, "It's not easy, it's not easy. Look at our Gongsun kid." "What, girl, even so, Gongsun kid is doing very well. What's so good about it? Why don't you understand? To reach this level, he doesn't need a year and a half. 1 year is enough. It's all a ready-made model. It's nothing more than adapting to local conditions and then developing. My brother and sister have summed up more than 100 models. It's not a problem to use them flexibly. And Jianjia graduates don't become a motherless child after graduation. If he encounters any problems, he can ask the academy for help. The academy will immediately set up a special team to support him. He can also mobilize a lot of economic and information resources. Now you know who's behind Gongsun Moyu. According to my brother, at this moment, he's not fighting alone. If he really encounters a strong opponent that the academy can't solve, the academy will send a request for help to the retired grandpas of the imperial court who are idling at home. If the old grandpas also encounter problems, such as the economic experts like the Tokyo Zero in the beginning, or Fengqiao and Yamamoto in Japan, the information will be directly passed to my brother and sister. Uncle, tell me, isn't such support enough? Behind Gongsun Moyu are the students and teachers of the academy, countless high-ranking officials of the imperial court, and the family power of the Zhang family and Wang family. Under such circumstances, he actually spent a year and a half to do something for the county. What do you think he did? While speaking, Xiaobei's finger was already pointing at Gongsun Moyu. It was a very impolite and disrespectful gesture. But Gongsun Moyu didn't dare to dodge. He pursed his lips as if he was about to cry. The surrounding people didn't make any noise. Instead, they even controlled their breathing. The scene was quiet for a while. But their hearts were not calm at all. Some were shocked, some were happy, and some were moved. It turned out that the imperial court didn't just send an official from Jinjia, but an unimaginably large group. It was a reassuring guarantee. The local situation wasn't important. What was important was that Gongsun Moyu, the person from Jinjia Academy, had come. After a while, the old man said to Gongsun Moyu, "Gongsun, what's going on? We don't blame you. In our opinion, you've done very well. We were afraid that you couldn't satisfy the academy. Actually, it's also our fault. If we had known that you were from Jinjia, we would have definitely helped you push the county magistrate and registrar down on the day you took office. Our Wenshan County is different from the counties near the capital. If we say that someone can't do it, that person has to go down. Even if the emperor says so, it's the same unless he sends troops to destroy us. In the past, our officials were all chosen by ourselves. Later, the imperial court, or more accurately, Xiaobao and Kuku, settled the Tubo and Tujue. Only then did we allow the imperial court to send officials. When county magistrate Wang Chang came, we thought that he was good. Our days were better than before. Until you came, we realized that Wang Chang was really useless. We're not afraid of not knowing what's good, but we're afraid of comparing. Tell us properly. If you really can't do it, we'll be your guarantor." The old man's words were true, and the people around him echoed. What they meant was that although what he did was not good in the academy's eyes, they approved of him. He had done very well. The main problem was that the academy's requirements were too high. Gongsun Moyu's tears finally fell. He wiped them with his sleeve and replied, "No, it's my fault. I didn't use the academy's resources. I wanted to do things with my own ability. I didn't want to rely on the academy, so I did a lot of the coordination myself. Take the century eggs for example. It's not difficult to produce century eggs. I learned in the academy that the difficult part is selling them. I personally went to Chengdu to sell them. Each trip took a long time. Also, I followed every sale because I was afraid that you would be cheated. To be honest, there was no need to go through so much trouble. I just sent a telegram to the telegraph office in Maozhou. There are people who graduated from the academy in Chengdu. They would help to collect information and contact the sales channels. Then I would arrange for you to go there. They would receive you there. I could spare some time to do more things for the county. But I didn't do it. To be honest, even if I didn't make century eggs, I could sell them easily if I made salted duck eggs. For example, if I went to the candy house and sold salted duck eggs to them, they wouldn't give a low price. Half a salted duck egg every day is good for the children's health. I'm going to die of anger. Gongsun Moyu, you make me even angrier than County Magistrate Wang. Let me ask you, do you know what is called Jianjia? Xiao Bei covered his chest with one hand and asked while panting. It's reeds. Gongsun Moyu answered. Xiao Hai interrupted, it's good that you know. There are many students in Jianjia. They are all reeds. Reeds are not as beautiful as flowers. Reeds are not as strong as trees. Reeds are not as effective as ginseng. Reeds are not as tasty as cucumbers. Reeds can't even be compared to those branches that can only be burned as firewood. But why did the academy name it Jinjia? Because Jinjia grew among the clouds. Because one could see people in the depths of Jinjia. A single reed is nothing. Only continuous reeds can make a pond. When there are many reeds, one can make all kinds of things. Others say that we are smart. What are we smart for? We are 9 people, each with their own strengths. We are all like you. We have to show off. If we are separated, the Tang patrol will be useless. Even so, we have many problems that we can't solve. We have to ask our brothers and sisters for help. But it's not that we are humbly asking for help. It's that we are afraid of doing things that will hinder others. We can't refuse to ask our brothers and sisters for help because of our little thoughts. That will hurt many people. This is called responsibility. Do you know how to write the word responsibility? Do you know? When you become the deputy county magistrate, you don't just represent yourself. You also have to be responsible for the 3,334 people in the county. You also have to be responsible for the 98 unborn children. There are 22 villages in the county and 479 households are counting on you. The tax of 6,462 strings of coins and 103 coins is not worth showing off. The monthly production of 120,499 duck eggs is not your capital. It's just a number. If the 9 of us held power in Wenshan County, do you believe that we can do better than you? Give us a year and we can remember everyone's name. We can understand every inch of land because we have the talent. Yes, every child is a genius. The 9 of us are the same. But I dare say that we only need 8 months to reach your current level. In a year, we can surpass you by several times. It's not that we are capable, but that we know how to use resources. You don't use the resources and insist on showing yourself. You have angered me. Gongsun Moyu looked at Xiaohai in shock. He made a sound of agreement and then stopped talking. After all, it was useless to explain. The others were also shocked. Gongsun Moyu had only said it once. They didn't expect him to remember it. He even said it so accurately that even the unborn children were included. The old man who asked didn't continue to defend Gongsun Moyu. The truth was that Gongsun Moyu didn't use any resources and wanted to do something for himself. Then he wasted time. Although it was amazing that he could reach this level in a year, this wasn't everything. If Gongsun Moyu wanted to, he could do even better. Gongsun, you can't think about doing things for yourself in the future. You came from Jinjia. How can you escape from Jinjia? You said that you don't use resources, but what you learned in Jinjia is already resources. Yes, I'll change, I'll definitely change. Compared to my fellow villagers, I know, I'm just a reed. Only in the depths of the reeds can one see his beloved. Little young master, little miss, please give me one more chance. Gongsun Moyu said to the surrounding people, and then nervously faced Xiao Bei. Don't make it sound so pitiful. I can't kill you. If I want to kill someone, I have to kill Wang Chong first. At least you have done a lot for the county. Don't you think so, County Magistrate Wang? Xiao Bei turned to look at Wang Chong. Don't kill me, my family has. There is an 80-year-old mother and a child crying piteously for food. I know, I will investigate later to see if you have embezzled a lot of money or bullied the people. We will talk about it when the time comes. County Magistrate Gongsun, tell us about the future development plan of this county. We can't stay here for a long time. Tell us, we will help you think about it. Xiao Bei glanced at Wang Chong and said to Gongsun Moyu. Plan? The plan has to be changed. Originally, I didn't want to trouble others. Now that I want to use resources, I have to change it. Gongsun Moyu hesitated and said. Chapter 1186. A gust of wind blew and Xiao Bei shivered. He looked at the mud wall in front of him through the gaps in the crowd and said, Let's go in first. It's windy outside. Last night, the tent was so noisy. I didn't sleep well. The girl must have been tired, said the old man who had walked over with a pained expression. It's not me, it's the rest of the team. Go in and arrange a place for them to sleep. Let's go. Xiao Bei led the way. With Gongsun Moyu by his side, Wang Chang's position as county magistrate could not be reflected. He could only follow a few steps behind, afraid and aggrieved. Hearing Xiao Bei's words, he turned his head and muttered, Didn't they say that the Zhang family and Wang family's servants and guards are the best in the Great Tang? Won't the wind tire them out? What are you talking about? I hate it when people talk behind my back. So what if they're elites? Elites are still people. Normally, they don't need to be so fatigue-resistant. Or are you trying to tell us that in Wenshan County, our people need to maintain the same vigilance? Are you worried about yourself or the people in the county? Xiao Bei turned around and asked Wang Chong. Before Wang Chong could explain, the surrounding locals glared at him angrily. It looked like they wanted to tear him apart. An older woman with wrinkles on her face held a wooden staff and knocked it on the ground twice. She looked at Wang Chong and said hatefully, Useless thing, you can't be a county magistrate. You don't know how to speak. The bad guys don't know that Xiao Bei and the others are rushing over. Who in the county can harm them? If someone dares to do something bad, we'll find them even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground, just like Xu and Yang. Hearing the old woman's words, it was clear what she was talking about. A group of young people had almost been blown up by a gunpowder boat in Xuanyang by the Yangtze River. Looking at the situation, the speed at which this news spread was extremely fast. Even the remote mountains knew about it. Wang Chang opened his mouth but did not say a word. Afraid of being attacked, he lowered his head and continued to feel wronged. Xiao Bei sighed, shook his head, and walked forward. He knew that Wang Chang was depressed. Not all local officials were as capable as Gong Sun Moyu. Their abilities were limited, and most of them were just maintaining the status quo. This was especially true for people in remote areas. If they couldn't come up with a short-term plan to get rich, others would reject them. As long as he could let the locals continue to live without rebelling, he would be a good official for the imperial court. As for making the local people rich, that was something that only capable officials could do. Logically speaking, Wang Chang, the county magistrate, was not in the wrong. Unless he was found to be corrupt, accepting bribes, abusing his power for personal gain, or bullying the people, even if he used the money in the wrong place or did something wrong out of kindness, he could not be punished. Of course, if he really did break the other rules, even if he was greedy for 100 copper coins, it would still be a heavy crime. Thinking about this, Xiao Bei looked at Gong Sun Moyu who was following him. He thought that since the lives of the local people were better, and the county's revenue had increased a few times, it would not be a problem for him to covet a few hundred strings of coins. There was no such thing as fairness and impartiality in this world. "Uncle, can I ask you something?" Xiao Bei suddenly asked the old man beside him. "Don't mention one, I will answer as many as you ask. I will tell you everything I know." The old man said happily. Wang Chang suddenly said, "Yes, I will tell you everything I know." "Shut up, do you know? Do you know how to make us live a good life?" The old man reprimanded. If it was before Xiao Bei and the others came, he would not dare to talk about the county magistrate. But now, he was not afraid. He probably would not be the county magistrate for long. Even if he continued to be the county magistrate, he was not afraid. If the provincial governor made a mistake, he would still dare to scold him in front of Xiao Bei and the others. Do you still have the guts to take revenge? Try it. If you take revenge today, someone will raid your house tomorrow. Taking revenge because of what Xiao Bei and the others did was to prevent the people from speaking to the emperor. If the path of speaking was not smooth, the fate of the nation would not be smooth. What kind of crime did you commit? Wang Chang seemed to have thought of this as well, so he did not even dare to look at the old man angrily. "Uncle, don't worry about him. Let me ask you. Do you like an official who is not greedy and is dedicated to the people but cannot make your lives better? Or do you like an official who is very smart and can make your lives dozens of times better with just a little bit of effort, but will also steal some of the money?" Xiao Bei asked. Since ancient times, this topic had its own right and wrong. The old man was stunned by the question. When the group entered the range of the earth wall, he smacked his lips and said, "In my opinion, it depends on the place. For example, in Wenshan, we can't eat meat twice a year. When we finally hunt something in the mountains, we have to make it into dried meat and take it outside to exchange for oil and salt. When there is a shortage of food, wild vegetables are good things. When you are hungry, grass roots and tree bark are also good. If the county magistrate wants to be greedy and live a good life, we can't wait to eat his meat and drink his blood. If it is that brat Gong Sun, after 1 or 2 years, he can be greedy if he wants to. It is not easy for him. He can't be rich while we suffer. People's hearts are made of flesh. We also want him to live a good life. If the higher-ups really come to investigate, I don't know about others. I will help to speak up and stop it if I can. Your Sanshui County is definitely different. Everyone is rich and usually does not lack things. You are just an official to help maintain the status quo. What right do you have to be greedy? When you take the money that should be used in the county, what will other people use? The people of your Sanshui County are not greedy, right? Dare? Lend them 100 guts and I will let them live to earn but not to spend. Hee. In fact, there are no officials in my county who are greedy. The money that is earned is not as good as the money that is earned after doing a good job. The eyes of the common people are bright. Uncle, Do you think Wang Chang, the county magistrate, is greedy? Xiaobei seemed to have understood a problem and led the topic to Wang Chang. Wang Chang instantly felt that winter had come, and it came when he was standing on the top of Min Mountain. If he really said that he was greedy, his crime would be increased by 5 levels and he would be beheaded. I'm not greedy. Thinking of his head, Wang Chang shouted at the top of his voice. Xiaobei said lightly, reason does not depend on the loudness of your voice. I am really not greedy. Look, all of you, look at my clothes. Wang Chang continued to shout. As he spoke, he lifted his outer official robe, revealing the inner lining. The material of the inner lining was not bad. The men came over and touched it. They looked at each other and nodded. The man said, the second-class brocade of Sichuan has fine stitches and smooth silk. The only shortcoming is that the embroidery is not good. The first-class top grade is much better, such as Xiaoxian's inner lining. Xiaoxian, come here and let everyone have a look. The man thought that he and others were not wearing Sichuan brocade but fine cotton, so he had to call the maid over and lift the outer coat to reveal the inner lining. He said to the people around, this is first-class top-grade Sichuan brocade. County Magistrate Wang's clothes are worth 5 coins. But it seems that he has been wearing it for many years. There are patches on it and the silk on his stomach is almost broken. Thank you, good people. Wang Chang, who was relieved, said gratefully. At the same time, he looked at the maid Xiaoxian enviously. Even a maid is better dressed than me. Why don't you unruly people say that a maid is not well dressed? Of course, the unruly people did not care how well dressed the maids of the Zhang family and the Wang family were. The inner courtyards of the Zhang family and the Wang family were legendary. It was said that any one of them could be a good local official. Half of the officials in the Tang Empire suddenly died, so it was not a problem to replace the inner courtyards of the two families. What the unruly people cared about was whether County Magistrate Wang Chang was pretending or not. So they all came forward and touched County Magistrate Wang's clothes, leaving various handprints on them. Wang Chang's heart twitched when he was touched. He gritted his teeth and endured it. It was just a piece of clothing. It was better than losing his life. The patches are not new. Finally, someone made a conclusion. Someone echoed. It has been worn for many years. The silk here has been ruined. County Magistrate Wang, who was about to collapse, suddenly felt that most of the people in the county were good people. The old lady who spoke first, although wrinkled now, was definitely a beauty in her 20s. There was also a little boy who left black handprints and said that the silk was ruined. When he grew up, he was guaranteed to be a pillar of the country. He could easily become the top scorer in the imperial examinations. Xiaobei and the 9 little guys were also puzzled. They gathered their heads together and muttered for a while. Xiaobei turned back and asked, Wang Chang, did you deliberately wear a tattered piece of clothing to deal with us? I'll say this. If you really did something wrong, just say it directly. As long as you didn't kill someone or break up your family, we won't pursue it further. However, if you dare to lie to us, you can expect that our Zhang family and the Wang family are not good at investigating. Once we find out, the dozens of people standing on the Vermilion Bird Street in the capital's Chang and city will have one more partner. The family of the Hongnong County Magistrate, Yan Zheng, is still alive. Xiaobei began to scare Wang Chang. Yan Zheng's family did not die because of the little girl. They were sent back from Japan and arranged to be somewhere else. However, outsiders did not know and thought that the whole family had been executed. The reason why Yan Zheng was so tenacious was because he knew that his family was still alive. During the New Year, the little girl even came to visit him once. She sat in the car and lifted the curtains to look. This also allowed him to see the son that his pregnant wife had shown him when he was caught. Then he needed to cooperate and shout to every passing official that if he did not die in 20 years, he could reunite with his family. Although he knew that he might not be able to hold on for 20 years, he was still willing to do it. It was enough to see his family once a year. Most of the others were caught in the previous fraud and religious incident. Only a few of them were officials from other places. To them, death was a kind of benevolence. They had to live so that the other officials could see how their bodies were gradually rotting away. They could see medical apprentices operating on their bodies and cutting off their rotten flesh to treat them. They could see their various reactions when they were about to be pierced with a new needle. Wang Chang had seen it before. During the new year, he had returned to the capital with the other local officials to discuss how to support Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in their western expedition this year. The capital was even colder than Wenshan. One of the officials who had been caught had one of his legs frozen. Then he was arranged to see the medical students explain how to deal with it on the spot. At the time, the official's leg was already black. On it were bulging and broken frostbites. Then he was splashed with boiling water to record his skin reaction when he was suddenly exposed to heat after frostbites. In the end, his leg was sawed off and he was injected with a few injections of a newly developed drug. Before returning to Wenshan, he saw that person again and found that he was still alive. This showed that the medicine was good and that the medical students had superb medical skills. But no matter what, he did not want to personally experience the medical students' superb medical skills on the Vermilion Bird Street. When he thought of this, Wang Chang swallowed his saliva and said, "The clothes are definitely not for show. I don't usually do bad things." "Then why are you white and plump, while Gongsun Moyu is dark and thin?" Xiaobei inquired about his skin color and figure. Chapter 1187. Wang Chang looked at himself, stretched out his hand and touched his face and stomach. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. In fact, he wanted to say that Gongsun Moyu wasn't dark and thin, he was just dark. How could he not be dark when he was running around outside all day? But he couldn't excuse himself by blaming others. If he angered Xiaobei and the others, he might be dragged to the capital. I can prove that in the past 1.5 years, County Magistrate Wang didn't get a single penny from the county government for his own enjoyment, Gongsun Moyu said righteously. Without waiting for others to ask, he continued, "Because after I came to the county, I knew the money in the county government. Part of the money that was handed over to the imperial court last year is in the Tang Bank in the state capital. Last year, there were 12 groups of inspectors. If County Magistrate Wang really used the money, I reported it. Since the end of the new year this year, our finances have always been open to the public. We have told the common people every coin we need. Until now, there have been 5 groups of inspectors. If there is really a problem, when the inspectors ask the people, the villagers will tell the truth." Yes, County Magistrate Gongsun is right. Every month, they come for inspection. I am timid and won't spend the county's money, Wang Chang quickly said. Don't change the concept. I asked you why you are white and fat. You told me that you didn't spend the county's money. You didn't spend the county's money. It can only mean that you are not greedy, but it can't mean that you have no problems. For example, you took bribes, or you used your position to bully people, or you didn't pay when you ate in the restaurant. Xiaobei still thought that Wang Chang's body couldn't be easily nourished in the tough environment of the county. But after Wang Chang heard Xiaobei's question, he began to stutter. Obviously, he was right. Gongsun Moyu said, "What I can say is that County Magistrate Wang didn't pay when he ate, and he has 3 fixed restaurants. Every time, the restaurants give County Magistrate Wang money. The lowest is 20 to 30 coins, and the highest is 50 to 100 coins. Huh? You can even get money from eating. Good thing, why haven't I seen it before? County Magistrate Wang, you tell me, I will learn from you. There is such a wonderful thing in the world, good." Xiaobei began to clench his teeth. "I'm innocent. A person came out of the crowd with a rolling pin in his hand. Seeing that everyone was looking at the weapon in his hand, people grabbed his clothes and hurriedly threw the rolling pin on the ground. They were scared because at least 20 guns were pointed at them. Help him pick it up. What kind of weapon can the rolling pin be? At critical moments, what the rolling pin can do, the fist and the head can do as well. Newcomer, who did you say was wronged?" Little Hai didn't believe that someone would stupidly rush over and attack with a rolling pin. That rolling pin was no more than 2 feet long. The guns were put away, and some people picked up the rolling pin, but they didn't hand it to the people who had squeezed in. "County Magistrate Wang, I'm innocent. I overheard people saying that he doesn't pay for his meals and wants to pay for them. I'm innocent. He often eats in my shop. Why do you say he's resentful? Because he doesn't just eat, he also helps to cook. County Magistrate Wang's cooking skills were simply superb. Oh, my surname is Zhang, and my name is Wretched Ming. The person who called himself Zhang Kai gave Wang Chang a thumbs up when he praised him. Xiao Bei and the others didn't say anything. They looked at Zhang Kai and signaled for him to continue. Zhang Kai seemed to be slightly nervous. He took a few deep breaths to calm himself down and continued. County Magistrate Wang's best cooking skills are his knife skills and deep frying skills. That knife is very good. When cutting radishes, a few radishes added together are not even as thick as a strand of hair. He also deep-fried things. The same pot, the same oil, and the same things. County Magistrate Wang's deep-fried food is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. How good is it? Let me tell you something. You know about pork and fish, right? After County Magistrate Wang's hand frying, putting it in the pot and deep frying, the outside of the pork will be crispy, and the inside of the fish will be juicy. It's fragrant and fresh. Those who have eaten it can testify. Every time County Magistrate Wang comes to my shop to eat, I've asked you to join in the fun. Let's not talk about how good he is as a county magistrate. Let's talk about his cooking skills. I gave him money, right? I've eaten it too. It's delicious. Vegetable dumpling, don't talk nonsense. County Magistrate Wang's deep frying skills are better than yours. Don't put gold on your face. Xiao Bei looked at the old man beside him and the old woman with the stick. Seeing that the two of them did not object, he believed a lot more. He then looked at County Magistrate Wang and suddenly laughed. Are you a chef or a county magistrate? No wonder you're white and fat. You're a typical foodie. You don't care about the affairs of the people in the county. You go to other people's restaurants to eat and cook for them. Don't you think it's a waste of your talent to be a county magistrate? Yes, foodie. I'm a foodie. I don't deserve to be a county magistrate, Wang Chang said. I don't understand. You're a foodie. How did you become a county magistrate? You should be a chef. Xiao Bei was depressed. Who made Wang Chang the county magistrate? What a scam. I took the exam. In the 6th year of Kaiyuan, I was ranked 42nd. I was working in the imperial court, but I found that the salary was too little. The land next to my house was the land of other high-ranking officials. I wanted to raise pigs, but they said it smelled bad. I wanted to dig a pond to raise fish, but they were afraid that the pond water would flow into their fields and drown the seedlings, so they didn't let me dig. Later, I had to cook for my superior for half a month before he helped to transfer me away. Then, Wenshan County lacked a county magistrate. I asked for help and got transferred to Wenshan. I knew about this place before I came. There are many wild animals in the mountains and many medicinal herbs. It's perfect for cooking. When Wang Chang talked about eating, he drooled. He swallowed twice to prevent the saliva from flowing out of his mouth. Xiao Bei patted his head twice. I really don't know what to say. I believe in Chef Shang's words now. The food you cook must be delicious. I don't think it's right to say that a person who chose to be an official and choose a place to eat is not delicious. Have you been starving since you were young? No, I was able to eat when I was young because of my mother. My father died early, and my mother raised the 6 of us. At that time, Wang Chang began to talk about his family matters. He said that his mother had suffered a lot in order to raise the 6 of them. When they were young, they ate first, and their mother would eat after they were done. If there was nothing left, their mother would just drink some dishwater and consider it as eating. Later, he swore to the heavens and his ancestors that one day, when he was successful, he would definitely let his mother eat good food every day. Before he took the imperial examinations, he helped others copy books and earned money to buy ingredients for his mother to cook. Then, when he took the imperial examinations, he actually passed. Then, while he was an official, he used his salary to buy all kinds of food for his mother, wife, and children. As long as he was at home, he wouldn't let others cook. When it became a habit, he would feel uncomfortable if he didn't cook for a day. No matter where he became an official, he had to consider what the local food could be eaten, so that when he brought his family there, they could eat delicious food. He was frugal in his daily life. If his clothes were torn, his wife would mend them. He was not allowed to throw away leftovers. After all, his mother used to drink the dishwater. If he threw away the leftovers, he was afraid of being struck by lightning. When he arrived at Wenshan, he found that there were many wild animals. However, the county was poor, far worse than before. In the past, he could always get some benefits from other places, but there was nothing in Wenshan County. He really wanted to be greedy, but his mother wouldn't let him. She said that the commoners had a hard life, and if he spent this money, he would sooner or later suffer retribution. He would rather continue drinking the dishwater than eat the food bought with the greedy money. Otherwise, he would starve to death. Therefore, Wang Chang changed his method when he felt that his salary was not enough. He went to 3 good restaurants in the county to help. After he earned money, he went back to buy ingredients and cooked for his family. With his good skills, he lived well for the past few years. Every year, he could cook bear paws for his mother twice. Then, with the arrival of Gong Sun Moyu, he found that he couldn't beat him. Fortunately, Gong Sun Moyu was capable, so he put down the matters in the county and focused on cooking. I really didn't do anything bad. Wang Chang promised again. You still say you didn't do anything bad? This is considered inaction. Fortunately, Gong Sun Moyu came. Otherwise, the commoners in the county would have been cheated to death by you. Xiao Bei pointed at Wang Chang and said, I plead guilty. I deserve to die. Wang Chang lowered his head. Xiao Bei sighed. Aya. He reached out and grabbed Xiao Yuan's shoulder, shaking it back and forth. Xiao Yuan, why do we have such a hard life? Can't we encounter a simpler case? Investigate the evidence and chop off the head. Everyone is nimble. Look at what kind of people we met. When we investigated at the seaside, they were so capable that we could only give them a warning. When we investigated at Fengzhou, it was a fellow who was also used. Moreover, he was slick. It's the same now. You said you killed him, but he was filial. He also knows how to be thrifty. Moreover, he helped the restaurant to cook, which can be considered to have improved the food conditions of some people. But if you don't teach him a lesson, he hasn't done anything for the past few years. He only thinks about how to cook good food. It's too torturous. Xiao Yuan felt the same. He nodded and comforted Xiao Bei. Life, this is life. He won't be able to be a county magistrate. Why don't we send him to the front? Why? Let him do business? Xiao Bei pursed his lips and asked. Let him go to the front to study the ingredients there. In the future, when we conquer the place, we will develop it. Food is the most important thing to the people. Let him go there and try. Xiao Yuan suggested. Xiao Bei thought for a moment and said unhappily, It's enough to have brother. Didn't brother cook for us before? He said that the food that might appear there in the future is called curry or something. It's disgusting just thinking about it. I admit that he has been ambitious since he was young. He cooks well, but it depends on who he is compared to. His knife skills are good, but is he as pretty as brother when he's throwing knives? When frying pork and fish, it's nothing more than roasting the pork slightly to remove the moisture. When wrapping the fish, the inner layer of the pork is smeared with starch to moisturize it. If the weather is cold, the frozen fish is used. After frying it, it will be crispy on the outside and tender on the inside like juice. Right, County Magistrate Wang? Wang Chang was listening by the side. In the beginning, he was nervous when he heard the two of them deciding his life and death. When he heard Xiao Bei's method, he immediately forgot about his nervousness and asked in surprise, You? How did you know? I have an exclusive secret recipe. The soup in the buns is just frozen first. My family's recipe is not leaked to outsiders. Pooey! My family runs a restaurant, between the clouds and the water, and they have served soup dumplings many years ago. You think you are good at it, but have you eaten the real soup dumplings? My brother's food is the best delicacy in the world, Xiao Bei said proudly. I will definitely ask for advice when I have the time, Wang Chang replied unconvinced. You have the time, but my brother doesn't. Right, I almost forgot. Your brother is Xiao Bao. He won't play with me. Wang Chang appeared very depressed. The difference in status was too great. Find a place to rest first. We will talk about your matter later. Don't worry, you won't die. At most, you will suffer a little. Gong Sun Moyu, think of a plan and tell us later. If we can't solve it, we can look for brother and sister. I believe that brother and sister are definitely better than you. Xiao Bei, who realized that he still couldn't directly kill the officials, quickened his pace. At the same time, he felt that this was good. It meant that there were fewer problems with the officials in Tang Dynasty. If there were officials everywhere that deserved to die, Tang Dynasty would be in danger. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.